Well, hey, everyone. How's everybody doing tonight? We've got 9 people here. Woohoo! 9 people is what it's saying. So I'm sure we'll get some more people coming in here directly. Hopefully everybody's doing good tonight. Not much. I just today was probably one of my most challenging mental days of beekeeping. It's that time of the year where for me, I'm behind on a lot of stuff, with work and still pulling honey, still trying to make that happen. It's a dearth, so the bees aren't feeling it. Hey, and I had to call my support staff, and he just chimed in right on cue to step me away from the edge. Hey, James.
Jump! Just jump!
I'll tell you what. All
I heard is that you were at the edge. I didn't hear the rest. I was trying to come in.
I was just saying that today was like a challenging day for me, beekeeping-wise. Mentally. Mentally and physically, right? Because of the heat. But it was one of those days to where it was just like, what's the old saying? Is the something worth the gosh, it's like, is the end result worth all the effort, right? So that's kind of where I was at today. Yeah. Right.
I'm pulling you back in, buddy.
Pulling me back in. So, I mean, obviously, I talked to you today, and I was just like, man, I can't even work the bees. They're so angry, so mad. And, it's nice to have someone like James that usually picks the phone up for me.
Unless I'm at work or I'm busy. But, yeah, otherwise I'll usually pick it up.
He'll pick it up, and he'll say, hey, what's going on, Bob? Man, I don't know about this beekeeping thing, It's like, yeah, if the juice is worth the squeeze. There you go, Donnie. So I was, you know what? And I'm going to tell you something. I don't often get like religious on here, right? I do have faith. That's a different topic. But, I was out there sweating all day, sweating hard, pulling just a little bit of honey, right? To where, you send it to like James, and he's like, oh, that's cute. You got 100 pounds, What'd you do? Pull one box, So, I mean, there's definitely that perception, right? That it's depending where you're at. I mean, 100 pounds could be huge, right? But, I pulled all that and did everything that we talked about, right? Put some bee escapes on the meaner colonies, right? To let them just work themselves out of there, pulled boxes that I could pull, and just stayed persistent with it. And this evening, I was out there, hot and sweaty and ticked off, and my wife calls me. She's like, Bob, because I'm in the honey house, right? And she's screaming at me. And of course, I'm yelling back at her, what? What do you want? I'm sweating here. I'm trying to squeeze these cappings out, and I'm frustrated. And it turns out that one of my high school buddies stopped by. And he's got stomach cancer. So, he stopped by for what? Honey. So, while I'm in there and frustrated.
It just kind of goes to show that sometimes our trials and tribulations really aren't that bad.
Right. And so I talked to my friend for a few minutes and his mom, and gave him a few pounds of honey take home. And it turns out in all of that, he's like, you know what? My stepfather used to keep bees, and we got a ton of beekeeping supplies over there. You can just come and get them to get them out of our shed, you know? So it really helped me today put things in perspective. So, you know, it's kind of a crappy way to start a show. I apologize. But
it's not really, because we go through things like that every day. Take a look at myself. Let's go back 1 month. I wasn't sure I was getting out or not. You know, it was literally nobody knows. So you don't know from one day to the next. So it's good to do the things that you enjoy, and most beekeepers do it because they enjoy it. They do it because it's something they want to do. So I think, you know, it's a good way to start the day.
well, today was definitely one of those days that, you know, I got things accomplished. I'm still a bit behind, which is okay because I've always got tomorrow. But you know, lost another colony, so that's 4. One that I really wasn't expecting to lose. It was the Lyson polystyrene hive. Just was getting robbed out. I mean, there was no queen, no eggs, no brood, no larva, just a bunch of bees taking all the resources that were left. So I just cracked it open, set the boxes apart, let the bees come have it and carry it home. Well, I was robbing out the other ones, right? So so, you know, it did get a little bit done, but you know, there are some blessings that we talked about today, as far as I actually have pulled more honey this year than I've ever pulled yet. So even though I've got a bunch more colonies than I've had, and didn't get like this massive crop, but I have gotten more than I have any other time. So even in a bad year, this was considered a bad year by most beekeepers as far as nectar and honey flowed, you know, down here. And I was able to grow my honey crop. So that's a good thing, right?
Absolutely.
Grew colonies, so that's a good thing. And James is in the smart car, I can tell.
I am, and I just got to step out. I will be back here shortly. I'm just going to dip out. I need a couple parts for my to finish off my uncapper, so I got to get that before the store closes. So I'm going to drop out, but I'll be right back.
All right, cool. Come on back. And Charlie, if you're in the wings watching somewhere, or anybody wants to pop in, come on and pop in. Let's talk some bees and see how you guys' season's going. And yeah, hey, Honeystone, I've seen goldenrod around, but I haven't seen it near me, which usually I do. Usually it's all down the roads and everything, but thanks to the county, they kind of mowed that down for me already. So, so hopefully that comes back down here. I did get, check this out, guys. You see anything different right here? My other chair was red. I got a new chair, a much more comfortable chair, seeing as how much I sit at this desk. So just to let you know, these chairs are on sale at Staples, and I got this one that was already put together. I didn't have to do anything. So look at Russell. Russell's making the money. Phil, you got one box pulled. I pulled 8 boxes. However, you know, some of them had partial full. Some of them are just drawn comb and no nothing in there. So I actually spun out 40 mediums and 3 deep frames right now, and you know, filled up 2 5-gallon buckets. So I mean, that's a good thing. I started some hot honey yesterday. I'm building a hive lifter for my truck this weekend. So, it's just one of those things. Today was one of those days. I mean, I got stung in my neck or right there. You see where I got stung? And it hurts. But it's been one of those days. I was in full suit, 100 degrees outside, sweating my bahonky off, and just tough day out there. But more emotional from the aspect of my buddy than when I last time I saw him, he was a pretty strapping fella, big guy, and he's on chemo, and he's literally half the man he used to be. So kind of one of those things. But I sold some honey today, I think $40 worth or something, and pulled some honey. Started a batch of hot honey last night. I ordered some Carolina Reapers for another batch of hot honey coming up. Hopefully that will be much hotter than the last. But yeah, that's kind of all that's been happening in my world today. Wow, let me click up the stream quality on my second screen where I watch the YouTube chat, and then I watch it pop over here. But hey, how's Buzz? Good to see you. West Central Georgia. I just moved back. Well, I say just, but I moved back here from East Georgia, Augusta area, when I moved back down here. $83 at the market today. Good job, James. I like seeing people making a little something. Making a little something on their honey. So the batch I've got going right now are wet peppers. The batch that I'm going to have going when the Reapers come in are dry peppers. So on my community, there's a link to the dry peppers that I've got for the Carolina Reaper honey. And the other ones I use are fresh habanero, jalapeno, and serrano this go round. And I put them in a bag this time, right? Mesh bag, and red pepper. And I put it in a bag, and I've got the bag down in the honey so I can pull all the bits or most of the bits out at one time. So the trick to doing wet peppers for me, and you got to use your refractometer, right? So whatever your honey is, when you put fresh peppers in it, it's going to basically candy those peppers, but it's going to suck all the moisture out of the peppers, which is going to bring the moisture content of your honey way up. And then you add more fresh honey to it to bring that moisture back down. You're basically spreading out the moisture to bring the content back down. And that's how I do mine. And it does pretty good. If it's too wet, though, you're going to get fermentation. You're going to have like my batch one where it exploded on at Greg Burns' place. I sent him a bottle. He didn't eat it. So it just ended up doing something bad. But the last batch I did last year, it did fine doing it the way I just said. But yeah. So nobody's going to jump in, huh? Nobody's coming on tonight. That's what we're doing. Saturday night, nobody wants to chat. James is getting parts. Let me see if I got any messages over here. No messages. Charlie may not even know that I'm going live. You guys got anything interesting happen down there? Hey, Mort. Good to see you. Habanero mead. That sounds interesting. I have no jump. I'm a 50-year-old white guy. That's funny. Ghost peppers dried. Those would be good. If I had a ghost pepper and Carolina Reaper together, that would sting. Yeah, I'll use some gloves when I do that. Hives are fine. Good. I chunk it up. I cut them up, and then I put them in there. So right now, I've got a bag, a mesh bag, that I cut all the different peppers up, and then I put it in the mesh bag, and then I tie the mesh bag in a knot this time. I wish I had some kind of weight. If I had a weight, it would be better. But right now, I actually literally have a spoon pushing down the bag into the honey and the lid holding the spoon in place right now. Yeah, dehydrating the peppers I've never done it with dried peppers before. I do it with fresh peppers mainly is what I did last year, and people loved it. I just didn't spread the word about it enough apparently, because I had someone ask me about it this year, and now I'm started a batch, and I've got peppers for another batch coming. So from what I get with the dried pepper, I don't have it. So the way I do it, Tritone, is when I use I've never done dried peppers before. This will be my first time. But when I use the fresh peppers, I put the fresh peppers in some honey, right? Like maybe it depends how much you're making. Last year, I just used a half gallon or a gallon sized jar, and I put the peppers in there, and then I filled it up with honey. And I sealed it. And I let that sit for about 3 weeks. And I would just flip it over every so often, and the peppers would go up. And then I'd turn it, and they would float back and forth, and it would just help mix the heat from the peppers in there. And then, when someone comes in, I'll see if I can get my bottle. And then that moisture in that jar will be pretty high. And then what I do is I use more fresh honey to make a batch, right? I'll add more fresh honey until the moisture content is acceptable. And then I'll mix it all together and do it that way. And that way the moisture content is low enough. Plus, it helps if you start with your honey being really low moisture content when you start too. That'll help. Phil, right now, I think Dirt Rooster said he's at the Crown Plaza, so I don't know. I don't know if that's where I'm going to stay. Last year I stayed the same place he stayed, and it was a nice hotel that we stayed at, but I haven't booked that yet. Let me see. My honey is clear. Lisa, gosh, I can't. Hold on. I'll go get it, but you guys are going to be looking at my wall for a second. Sorry, guys and gals. So, we often look at your wall. All right. So, this one was one that my wife actually, I'm gonna blame it on her, but somehow it had gotten put in the refrigerator and it had crystallized. So that's crystallized in the bottom, but, and I just knocked off a piece, but usually it's pretty clear. I actually put some pepper chunks in there after I strained it, just as decoration. But it was ended up being pretty good. And it's nice on fried chicken. And I think the longer you leave the peppers in there, the better it is. The key is keeping it from getting crystallized, and putting it in your refrigerator doesn't help. Just to let you know, somehow mine got put in the refrigerator, but Yeah, it usually does. Hey, Shane, good to see you. So, it's the weekend. For some reason, even though I work harder on the weekend doing physical stuff, I usually don't get an old man nap. So, no old man nap today. I leave my seeds in. You see, there's seeds floating in there. So I leave the seeds in there and everything. So I do strain it out. I have that batch. I used to just use that jar and put the pieces in there with the honey, and then I would strain it all out and everything else. Now this time I'm trying it with a mesh bag to see if that helps any. Keep it out of the sunlight. Let me see. Yeah, and I put some. You can see them a little bit in here. I got some crushed red pepper in there too, a little bit. So just season to your taste, how you like it, and it usually comes out pretty nice. You got heavy beekeeping tomorrow. There's Todd. Todd, you get your internet fixed yet? You can pop in here. And I bet you it would taste good on barbecue. I bet you it'd taste good in a barbecue sauce, like making a honey barbecue sauce with hot honey. I bet you it would be really good. Oh, I'm bleeding. Probably bleeding. All right, cool. So this new chair, man. Oh, it's great. It is great. And it wasn't that expensive compared to the other chairs. $160, I think. Yep, that's it. Add a pinch as needed for taste. And so yeah, that's the thing. Hopefully you guys are keeping up with your stuff. I haven't been able to keep up with mine that well, and it's costing me now. I'm having to try to do it all in a few days, and I'm getting most of my colonies are down to like a deep and a medium, and stuff like that. So, and they were not happy today. As the day went on, they got a little bit happier, but it was a tough start this morning. I have to go through my strongest and pull brood, pulling them back, building the new queen singles. Yep. Yeah, I've seen a lot of hive beetles too. This today I saw a lot of hive beetles. Let me see. I was at a restaurant this week and they advertised hot honey, and I asked for a taste test. My famous thought it was going to be warmed honey, not spiced honey. I didn't like it. It's good on fried chicken. I know that much. For me, it is. Well, here they always give you hot sauce and honey when you go to the like Popeyes. So why not mix it together? Hey, Tim and Hannah, good to see you. But it was like 96 here today. It's 88 right now. It says rain starting soon. That'll be good if it cools down. Tomorrow it's going to be 98, Monday 98, Tuesday 98, Wednesday 92, Thursday 91, and Friday 90. So even when we get a break, it's not a break. It's just hot, miserable. Yeah, it'll taste different for sure. So I'm going to try one that's just stupid hot, right, with the Carolina Reapers, and then one that's more of a everyday user could use it. So I was bouncing ideas of names for the Reaper sauce off of my nephew, and I told him I told him I was going to call it Insane Clown Saucy, and he said negative. You know, the old or not, there may not even be that old, but there's a band called Insane Clown Posse, so I just was joking with him. It was 87 today. All right. Well, I actually was going to buy some when I went to the Staples. I was going to buy some peppermints there, but they only had the soft ones, so I didn't get them. So I'm going to buy some more. I'm going to buy some more peppermints and put them in there. See if I can run them out. I'm going to get some Swiffers and put the Swiffers in and work on that. 107. Yeah, it's miserable. Miserable. Stupid Hot seems like a good name. That is it. That might be it. Stupid Hot. Stupid Hot Honey. But it's man, I can't believe nobody's jumping in here. What is going on tonight? Y'all must not want a long chat tonight. I can see that. Nice and 73, man. I wish. It'll be 73. It says heat advisory just issued for Sunday. There you go. From 11 a.m. Heat advisory. Get cover crop seeds. Take a look at white mustard. Mustard seeds are super small seeds. Hold on one second. My wife fussing at me. She said I stopped the sink up. All I did was clean a bucket lid. Let me see. ISDA to stop by. Cool. USDA. 98 in Oregon. Woo. I'm trying to see if I can do like I did on my other chair with this chair. I always like sit on my foot. But the arms go up nice. Man, I'm liking it. Liking it tonight. 67. Man, I wish it was 67 here. Of course, when it's 67, I'll probably be saying, I wish it was 75. It's going to be 98 tomorrow with I don't know what the heat index is going to be, but it will be 98. 68 with rain. We had rain yesterday. It's supposed to rain tonight for a little while. Wait a minute. Oh, mite resistant breeding program. Icing your knee again. What'd you do, man? Hey, I've got a question for you guys. Have you guys noticed at your house or around your apiary, if it's like in your yard or something like that, are you noticing since you started keeping bees that you're getting plants that you never had before around that are just like popping up? Thunderstorms in Pennsylvania. Maybe that's why Charlie's not on. Because I've I had those the new They're new for me. The muscadine. I am, but that's probably because I stopped spraying weeds. I gotcha. You're planting sumac? I thought sumac was like poisonous. I got a cicada killer too. It landed on me today and I flipped it off when I went outside. Yeah, birds bringing in the seeds, right? And then they start growing and the bees pollinate them. Let me see. See if I got Charlie on here somewhere. See if we can get Charlie. Let me see. I'm live, sir. There we go. Boom. In case you didn't see it. But I should have went live on Charlie's channel. Then he would have got a notification he was live. And he'd have been like, what? Yeah, I've seen more of everything, it seems like. I'm seeing more frogs. I'm seeing more lizards, more butterflies, more dragonflies, more different kinds of plants that I had never had before. So it's pretty neat to see. Finally, someone to save me.
Yeah.
What's going on?
No, not much.
It looks like your internet's fixed up.
Yeah, I have a different laptop.
Oh, okay.
So, and then I think the snafu has been fixed. If I start cutting out, I'm going to cut out because it'll irritate me. But I think it's fixed. And my daughter came by a little while ago, and she said that this camera on her, I'm borrowing her laptop right now. She said it works. It works great. So
look, I had to send him a text so he knew I was live to come on.
All right, now I'm here.
Now you're here. They said you were running to get popcorn.
No.
The
some video stuff.
well, I did pull some more honey today. It was, I mean, I guess to some people it's not a lot, right? But I've gotten 600 pounds so far this year, which is more than I've ever gotten. So it's like a new high for me, and I still have some more.
I'll be back.
That was quick.
Yeah.
In and out.
In and out. Now he's going to be like, okay, got to go, guys. Get your name on the other line.
Hey, you know what's killing me? I heard when I was trying to get in, I heard someone talking about, I think it was you, about the hive beetles being really bad.
Yep.
Man, I am getting slammed with wax moth this year. It's never been this bad.
I've lost 4 colonies so far. So, and not weak colonies. I mean, like double deep colonies that are just like, we're out of here.
Yeah.
So, I think I caught one of them today, though. But it was kind of weird because that colony was getting robbed out, right? So I just broke it apart and let them go ahead and just get it. Mm-hmm. And that way I could utilize the frames if I needed to as I was going through colonies. And then all of a sudden I saw out of the bush where they were starting to come out, like the swarm was leaving, but then they landed right back on the bush again. So I just took my swarm trap, put it under there, shook them down, closed it, but left the swarm trap right in that same area. Yeah. And the rest of the day, they kept going in and out. Now, tomorrow, they'll probably be gone when I go out there. But, that was kind of what was going on. I mean, today was just one of those days to where the bees were pissed. It was hot. And I talked to James and he was like, you know what? You got to do it. So just get your suit. I know it's miserable. Just do it, even if it's a few hives at a time until you get it done. So I got 8. I pulled 8 boxes off, which for that main block is pretty much all of my bigger colonies. I've got down to like a deep and a medium.
Yeah.
And except for that one on the end that's always pissy. So, but I did take it apart and I put a bee escape on and then put the boxes back on so they could just funnel themselves out, and then I can just go back and pull the boxes off. And then I've got on that side row, I still have a few boxes to pull off. But worst case scenario, I go out tomorrow and put bee escapes on them and let them do the same thing. But it's just miserable, hot, and the bees are pissy, and they're all in your face and stinging you through your leather gloves, and they still sting right through it like it's not even there, right?
I did two things. I told you guys I bought that Comfort Pro suit.
Right.
And I'm not trying to I'm not making any money, anybody buying it or anything like that. But I'm telling you what, that thing is super cool.
You got the whole full suit?
No, just the jacket. See,
my problem is with those jackets, even if I get the big size, then they're not tight enough around the waist, and bees can crawl up on the inside. Yeah. Or they're not long enough, and when I bend over, then it's pulling up on the back and I get stung in the back, right? So it's
but that thing has kept me cooler because it's single layer.
Right.
And I'm not wearing the bee gloves anymore. If I do wear gloves, I wear the just the yellow leather ones, right? That go right to your wrist.
Right. Like mechanic gloves.
Yeah, it's so much cooler. I try not to wear gloves, but sometimes I have to. Right now I have to because they're kind of in between nectar flows.
Right.
So yeah, they're not happy, but I am so much cooler with that suit on. It's amazing the difference that it has shown me.
I bought this hat a couple weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. And this whole hat was like I took it and dunked it in a 5-gallon bucket of water and had it on. And now it's dry again, but it's a trucker hat, right? It's ventilated. You think it would be cool? No, it was soaking.
I went on to Amazon and bought me a bunch of Willie Nelson sweatbands.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I don't even wear a hat. I have a round veil, and that's one of the reasons why I bought that thing. And because I am getting beat up on the face by the sun, big time. So the round veil is pretty wide and it keeps its sun off my face. Right. But I don't want to wear a hat. So then I just bought the sweatbands. I put it on there and it works great.
Keeps all the sweat from running down to your face and eyes and everything.
Mm-hmm. Now, if I wanted to get the fencing veil, the nice thing about this suit is you zip off one hood and put the other one on. So it's pretty cool.
The veil I have in my jacket makes me feel like a Jawa. For Star Wars fans, you know what I'm talking about, right? Where it sits on your head forward and it kind of leans down, right?
Yeah.
The problem is it is vented, but it'll lay on your neck.
Mm.
So they can get you on that still.
There's one. I know Brad and I have been talking about that veil, just the veil, and there's another jacket that's out there that Mike Berry wears, and it's got a low.
It zips around here, right?
Yeah, it's wide open right there, and that just lets all that heat come out. And of course, the veil, the protective screen is below that, but you're just wide open right there, which is really nice.
My favorite one to wear when the bees are nice is just the veil that you pull over. You remember the little half jerseys you'd wear in gym or something? It's like that, and it just is like comes right around your shirt here, and it's like a muscle shirt, so it comes right here on your sleeves, and it's a full veil. And I wore that in my honey house while I was extracting honey because too many bees were in there, But it worked out. And I think I may have found a honey sump on the cheap.
Mm.
And it's from our friends over at Vivor. And I was thinking, now that's that it could work really well for what we do, right? It's not designed for it, but it does, or not intended for it is what I should say. But they make several varieties of this. So let me just share this. So on the low scale, right, or lower end of sideliner or something like this might be something that would work. And let me make it big. So it's designed to be used for changing car oil.
Huh.
So it's supposed to pump thick liquid, right?
Yeah.
And if this one holds 20 gallons, then the one, there's actually another one that's red. But if you put, like, if you took this cover off, which is great, and you covered that with that paint strainer bag, it would catch all of your cappings, right? So you could come out of your uncapping table and your extractor right into this thing through the 200 micron bag or whatever, and then it's got a pump, and you can just pump it straight into 5-gallon buckets with the hose. Now this one here that I'm showing actually has 12-volt attachment, right? But they have another one that's red, that's powder coated, that they also have a, let me see, right there. That does the same thing, but you see it's got the metal mesh on it.
Yeah.
You could probably just lay or cut open a paint strainer bag and lay it across there and just let the honey run on top of it right into this to this tank, and then pump the honey right out of, well, I'm trying to show it to you in there, but let's see if there's a better picture. That's a hand crank, but they have an electric model.
And how much did that hold? 20 gallons.
20 gallons, yeah. So, I mean, for me, if I'm only pulling 10 gallons at a time, 10, 15 gallons at a time, that may be a reasonable thing, you know?
Interesting.
And then if you're extracting it and you're keeping an eye on it and you're pumping it into 5-gallon buckets as you go,
yeah,
you know, might be something. But the electric one is $179. Well, it's not showing that right now, but because they're not showing it as in stock, that's why. That's a 15-gallon one for $169. But I was just looking at what it does and what it's used for. I mean, it's used for pumping motor oil. So hot honey or motor oil is about the same consistency, as long as it doesn't have a bunch of wax in it, right? So that would be the main thing.
What did it come out to? What was the hose? Is that 2-inch, 1.5 inches?
Let's see if it says oil drain with pump, 7.2 inch evacuation hose for, or 7.2 foot hose for evacuation. See if it even says what size it is. I know that black one had a probably an inch or an inch and a half hose on it. That one looks smaller, maybe a 3/4 for that one, or a 1 inch.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit small, but you're only pumping it into 5-gallon pails, not, you know.
Yeah.
Let me see. Redneck engineering goes a long way sometimes. Hey, you know, when you look at a honey pump, a honey sump that's $1,700 that holds 18 gallons, right? And then you got to get a $2,000 pump to pump that honey. And you can buy this for $175, $180. And if it works, you're a damn genius. And if it doesn't work, you're out $200. And then you can change all the oil in all your vehicles forever. Right, Charlie?
Yep.
You're back with us. You don't have to make an emergency exit?
Nope.
Okay, great.
Just can't stay up too late. I gotta work tomorrow afternoon.
So this thing's powder coated, so it's not supposed to rust.
Well,
At least that's what it claims.
Hey, Jack. James. Not food grade.
Most of our buckets, are you buying all food grade buckets, or are you going to Lowe's and buying Lowe's buckets?
I don't buy any buckets. I have my sister's snowball stand, so she
Well,
has.
then those are food grade. Yeah,
They're
right?
food grade buckets.
Not food grade. Right.
So what were you going to try to do with that thing? Pump it from?
No, I was just thinking that it would work as a honey sump. I mean, if you're doing less than 20 gallons at a time, right? Just to put a mesh on there, and it's got a mesh, but putting the paint strainer bag on there, so when you are coming out of your extractor, then you can just pump it straight in your 5-gallon pails right out of that honey sump. Just an idea. Out of the oil catch. But yes, it's not listed as food grade. Correct. Thank God I don't have bee police around here.
Yeah, Randy, I'm going to do round bales tomorrow.
Let me see. As long as your honey doesn't taste like castrol.
Castrol.
Well, I mean, it was a thought. They didn't have the 20-gallon one in stock anyway that I was looking for, but it's an idea. But I mean, it is what it is. Charlie, what'd you do today, man? Besides work?
Went out to the bee yard and made some videos.
I saw you posted a video. I haven't watched it yet, though.
Yeah, that was last week's. I was doing some inspections and stuff, and so I'm doing some other inspections about see whether the hives are, have been bringing any nectar to kind of offset my sugar feeding in the fall, and they've been doing that, so that's been good. And some of the hives are really packed, and some of them are not quite so packed. I guess depends on the hive itself.
Well, speaking of which, all of that open feed that I put out, all of it, very few of them had stores in there.
Really?
Very few of them. They had some pollen, not a lot of, if there was a ring of honey in the brood box, I just left that, right? I didn't even mess with that. But but yeah, I mean, the honey was darker. I assume that was a little bit to do with some of that buckwheat they were getting. Not a lot, but a little bit of it, so it's a darker color, a little bit stronger taste, but not 100% buckwheat. It's just got a little different profile to it. So as James says, it tastes a little like shit instead of totally shitty.
Hey, Shane.
Yeah, I actually watched a video of one of Shane's. I happened to come across it.
Man, you know what? I was battling black widows this morning. They're coming out in full force right now. I'm guessing they mate this time of year like tarantulas do. But I saw the biggest one yet. It looked like a grape with legs. I popped that sucker, man. It was like a mushy zit. It just exploded.
And they're right on your colonies, right around your colonies?
Yeah. They're underneath on the pallets. And what I have to do is I have to take a stick and I have to clear all the debris because sometimes the breeze will blow in leaves and stuff, and those ants will use that as a ladder and get up. Yeah, they're thick. Black widows and wax moth this year are my issues.
I've lost one that I know of to wax moth, or maybe not. Maybe I lost it to something else, and then the wax moths moved in. I don't know, but the other ones I'm pretty sure were hive beetles because the comb looked good. everything was out of it, gone, you know. So, Charlie, you're very silent tonight.
No, I was just looking at a comment there from Darren, where he says it's a happy rainy Saturday night. So I just went to the uh, radar thing, and up where he's at, it's raining pretty good up there. A pretty good sized storm.
I
It's
had
thundering around here. No rain yet.
is that heat thunder?
You know, it's the monsoons blowing up from Mexico.
We got you ever notice when you take stings, at least for me, when I take stings, that my sinuses clear all the way out? I think that's from the histamine that the
Probably.
body's like releasing. It's like, oh, we'll just clean all this out. So my sinuses are clearer today than they've been in quite a while. I'll say that. Yeah.
No, but yeah, I looked around and added some boxes here and there that I thought that they could use as far as expansion, some of these nukes and stuff, and checked out the feed sources. That looks good so far. So, I haven't really got into my
boxes.
Huh?
You're adding boxes. I'm taking boxes away from everybody.
Yeah, I'm working with these hives that had young queens that I've been trying to build up and all. So every week or so, I give usually there's a box or a hive that needs a box and all. And then, like I say, checking the hives behind me there, I checked several of them today, and they have pretty good food stores. So that's good. That's encouraging.
Well, I felt kind of bad that they didn't have much in their brood box, and I'm taking honey off the colonies, right? It's like, screw you guys, just robbing this, right? But then I gave them the boxes back, and they cleaned that out pretty quick.
Yeah, but you're taking honey supers off, right?
Yeah, I'm taking supers off, and I am pulling. I haven't pulled a lot, but if it was a single deep that I hadn't been in and I opened it up and there was a bunch of honey frames, I took the honey frames out and then gave them drawn comb so they could, lay it up, hopefully. And I'm getting ready to start feeding the crap out of them. So Brad just sent me a message, so I just sent him, "We're live now." So he threw the thumbs up. Maybe he's gonna come around. But yeah, I mean, so with the I'm slowly lethargically pulling boxes off of colonies and condensing them down in hopes that it helps them with the the beetles and the moths and whatever else. And now that I've got them semi reduced down, I can start putting the M treatments in, right? And knocking that out. And I think I'm contemplating doing a Charlie and wait until it starts getting cooler and then throw some formic on there and, letting them trying to multi attack those things and try.
What are you gonna treat them first with though?
Apivar, and then in 6 weeks start my oxalic acid, and then when it gets cool, like November, December, then I'll throw some formic on there.
Does it get down below 80 degrees? What time of year does that happen?
Usually October. At night it'll get down that cool.
What's it doing today?
98.
Really? In October?
Oh no, during the day? No, probably it still gets like in the 80s.
Really?
Here, for sure, yeah. It's
Hey, Cajun.
It is brutal.
Yeah, I mentioned Brad in my video. I think it was the one I put up today. Yeah, I don't know. I was listening to Mike Bear, and he was talking about putting AprilGuard in, and it's like 100 down there where he's living, and then it'd be in the 90s, and I'm real concerned to put AprilGuard in my highs in the 90s, and also with humidity and all, but just I don't have any experience with it. So that's why I went with April Bar again. And then in September, we should get a window there of, let's say, 4 or 5 days. If I can get a 4 to 5 day window of 80 degrees or a little bit less and low humidity, I'll put the full dose of Formic Pro in. But
put it in the freezer first.
Put the Formic in the freezer first?
Yeah, you can do that too.
Does that stop the it from just
yeah, it slows the flash down.
Okay.
And it won't be as harsh on them right off the bat. It'd be easy for them to adapt to.
That's the I've never used it because I've always down here it's just so hot. But everyone's like, oh no, it works. And I'm like, okay, well,
I would say in your area, as the way your heat is, I would say definitely put it in the freezer. Now here I've had it like last year. It was right around Labor Day week or weekend or whatever. And it was below 80. It was like 78 degrees, low humidity. It was a nice breezy, sort of like a early spring day or a kind of what would you call it with a fall, sort of a false fall day or week. Huh?
Crisp.
It was crispy throughout the day where it was very nice, and I dosed them all with that stuff. And by the time it started creeping back up a little bit warmer above 80, and that stuff within 4 days, it pretty much the potency is downgraded quite a bit.
Fred said he'll be in a bit. He just got in from extracting.
Ooh.
He said, how late are you going? I said, till it gets boring. But
Paul says 104 down there. Yeah, that's one other thing I did today is went out to the solar wax melter at late this evening and Tom took in took out screens and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got to clean mine out tomorrow. I'm pressing the wax in the fruit press right now. Man, I'll tell you what, it's astonishing how much honey you get out of an uncapping table and that wax press from your cappings. I mean, it's the wax press. I mean, yeah, I only put in about halfway, right? I'm not putting it full in, but I'm probably saying I'm getting at least 1 gallon to 2 gallons out of my uncappings. And I'm only pulling, 40 frames or so. And it's usually just enough to top off my buckets where I've stopped from the strainer, right? I just top them up a little bit, pop the caps on them. And good.
Now, do you let them drain in your uncapping tank for a week or so before?
I do. I usually let them sit in there, and then like the cappings from last time I extracted were still in there, right, from last week. And it's been miserably hot, so they were pretty dry. And the ones from today, I let drain for a few hours, and then I went back and bagged them all up with the dry ones and put them in my press to make the disc to put in my solar wax melter tomorrow. And I tell you what, that you got 93 today, Tom?
Yeah, and high humidity.
High humidity, like our high humidity, or high humidity for you?
Well, we're usually around 65 to 70, but today was up even higher.
Yeah, but what don't quite understand is like Todd there, you'll say it's what is it, 20% humidity?
15's normal.
That's like
15.
dry, right? Real dry.
Yeah, it's dry.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're complaining that it's humidity, when is that 20, 25?
25. Yeah. Since these monsoons started last couple of days, it was 40% yesterday. It was hot. It was hot here. People are dying.
Yeah. Well, I guess I guess it's the combination of the heat. You have a higher level of heat.
Yeah.
And I mean, ours is like we're at 85 degrees, but once it gets above 60% humidity, that's when it feels like terrible. You know, it's like in the 70% range.
Here you just walk outside and you can feel the water in the air. It just starts pouring off your skin and everything. I mean,
That's
you
what
can
it was here today.
and walk outside, and it's just that muggy swamp feeling right now. Terrible.
Yeah, we got storms right on my doorstep right now, probably about next 15 minutes.
The
Tim said 60% humidity won't be here till January.
right. Let me see. There's Brad.
But now, like you were talking about, you're harvesting honey now, Bob. Is when do you normally?
I try to have it off by July 1st, July 4th
Hey,
weekend.
Brad.
By
Hey,
that
Brad.
time. And here it is, the 12th of September, and I'm pulling.
No, it's August.
Yeah, August, whatever. 8th month, that month.
November.
Yeah, it's all running together, you know. Brad looks like he's been working up a storm today.
Oh boy, yeah. Have we put through probably 1,000 pounds today?
Ooh.
That's why you sent me the laugh face when I said I pulled another 108 pounds.
No, you didn't say what? I didn't get that.
Yes, you didn't read it, but you got it.
What?
I said,
Oh, no, I didn't see that. Pulled another 9 gallons. Yeah. No,
actually,
no, it's all good. It's all relative.
Probably closer to another 10 gallons by the time the uncappings and all that drain out, right? So
my wife was helping me today, so that's good. We had a market that we jammed out on, so we did extracting all day, and so we got a lot of work done. Lots done. We're almost complete this job. I'll finish that up tomorrow. Just some cleanup to do.
that was your
Yeah.
right? He brought his boxes over. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, for everybody. Yeah. Probably 2,000 pounds total. So
And he wants 350 of it. And
days.
you get to keep 1650, 2750 of it.
He wants more. He wants 1,500 of it. So
That's still
that's all right. Whatever. It doesn't.
Right. I mean,
I don't count on anything else. So.
Right, but I'm just saying that you got in bonus for extracting boxes for him a bonus 1,500 pounds or 1,000 pounds, right?
Oh no. There's going to be tops 500 pounds left over, but we've agreed on a fee, and just so that we can quantify the value of the honey against the value of the fee and that, so we can keep it equitable. You know what
Right.
I mean? So
Well,
I mean, it'll definitely be a horse trade.
Well, hey, nothing wrong with it. I mean,
No.
I look at it like this: you're getting honey from hives you didn't have to work. That's a win.
I didn't have to pull the honey either.
Considering you got 500 pounds of honey for extracting somebody else's, that I got 600 for doing all the damn work all year long. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Well, yeah, I pay for it, because
Right.
and I don't. When I sell that honey, I don't make. When I sell my own honey, it's the margin is 100% margin kind of thing,
Right.
and then my fixed costs are beyond that. So there's the margin is a whole lot less. There's maybe $1 or $2 a pound or something in my
Right.
pocket, but regardless, it's really nice honey, really nice honey. A lot of clover and whatnot.
Let me see.
I
Yeah,
had
I'm
something.
beat. Oh man, I'm beat. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, I had something strange yesterday. I walk out to my bee yard, and on the side of my hive number 16, I had this little cluster of bees, and they were bearding a little bit out in front during the day. So I went the day before, so I thought maybe it was just some on the side. Well, they were there by the end of Friday yesterday. They were still there, so I went and moved the bees around a little bit, and there was a queen there.
Lost return.
I was going to ask you, was there queen in the middle?
Yeah, queen in the middle to around 600, maybe 800 bees. And
I've seen
I
that
knew it
happen.
wasn't
I've
one of
seen
mine.
I've seen a queen sitting on the ground in front of a hive or something, and I
In a
don't really
ball.
understand that. Yeah, in
Yeah,
a little
and
ball. Well,
all
usually
my
if there's a
queens are
queen sitting on the
marked.
ground, there'd be a ball. So
Yeah,
so you say your queens are marked. So was she not marked?
no, she's not marked. So I have no clue where she came from.
Virgin queen
Okay.
that colony made.
Yeah, was she a virgin perhaps?
But I know as of 3 weeks ago, all my hives were queen right. I had checked them all.
Was she a
And there was no
superseger
queen
that got
cells.
kicked out?
What's that, Brad?
Is she a superseger that got kicked out? Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. So I made a little nuke up today. 2 frames of brood
Yeah.
and shook 2 frames of bees in. See what happens.
Yeah.
She'll probably be
I
your
tend to do
best
that.
queen in the whole yard next year. You'll be like, what the hell? I didn't even buy these genetics. They just happened.
Yeah, I went
sometimes the
into the
best.
hive that was on today, and the queen was there. So my marked queen was there. So I don't know where this queen came from.
Oh, I almost picked up the phone and made a drastic call today. I almost was like, Jose, send me 50 queens. I'm going to kill every queen in this yard and re-queen. I was so... Ask James. He'll tell you. He'll tell you tonight, probably in the VIP chat later. I called him. I was like, man, I can't even... It's not even fun to go out and work my bees because they're so pissed off all the time. It's just like, didn't even want to do it. And I mean, I was like, just send me 50 queens. These pissed off ones, I'll kill them, split them 5 ways, make them grow back up into nice colonies, and then repopulate all these boxes. I was in a way this morning for sure.
Did
you need to do that. Make that call.
Huh? James,
make that call.
James walked me back off the edge, right? James was like, hold on. Do you have any bee escapes? I'm like, yeah, I don't use them though. He's like, well, take your bee escapes out and just work as many colonies as you can. Put the bee escapes on and come back when they work their way out and just pull them off. And I'm like, okay, I could do that. But then magically, it's like they heard the phone call and they're like, no need to use the bee escapes. We'll go ahead and evacuate so you can pull some boxes off of us. And they were much more chill after that. And I was frustrated because, like Charlie said, when do you usually pull your honey? By July 4th. And here we are a month later and it's still on the colony, right? And it's like, I need
you're
to
lucky,
get
you're lucky it's still in there.
Yeah.
You're lucky you're still in there because they
they're likely eat it all on you.
Yeah.
And that it definitely, that's why I said I pulled 8 supers, but only about 43 frames out of that 8 supers actually had honey or nectar in it. And that's what got spun. And you know what? I'm kind of weird that even if there's nothing in it, I've been running those frames through my uncapper to make all the frames wax nice and perfect, right?
Sure, why not?
And then take it and put it in the box. So it's double duty there. So
yeah, why not? You got an uncapper. That's what they're for.
And then clean up all the frames nice, all the burr comb off of them, set it to the side, and just trying to get organized.
So ditching this market, I felt really bad for ditching this market. It kind of a friend of ours runs it, and we're trying to do what she does, and but you're really bad timing August like this, and I just needed that extra day to get this extracting done, and things have been weighing on my mind is my nukes. I need to build my nukes up. I need to get some more brood in those nukes and make something of them, and maybe make some splits with some of the nukes that are too weak to build up. But I don't have any drawn combs, so what I need to do is go out there and cherry pick some honey off of these hives and extract it, so I can have a few boxes of drawn comb to put in these nukes. So
if you were here,
ditching
you'd have
this-
dead outs to grab them from.
Yeah, I had dead outs. I'm still rendering dead outs too. It's pretty nasty. So ditching this market really put me ahead. So I think we might pilfer. We're just going to cherry pick a few frames, I think, possibly tomorrow, if the weather cooperates, and extract those, and then I can start using those to work on my nukes this week. We're still going to get a couple days of rain this week, so it's not, boy, the bad weather's coming. I don't get as much time to work the bees. I haven't even checked. I've got probably was it 30, probably nearly 50 nukes that I haven't even checked for laying, like mating nukes. So they need to all be checked for laying, and then take care of them if they're not laying. And it's just it really got ahead of me. I'm finding out the limitations of my ability to make queens and nukes. It's too much work.
So it's kind of weird. I didn't have, like, I've been keeping the spreadsheet, right? Every time I pull honey, how many frames I've pulled, of what size, and then I kind of have a running tally of how many frames I've pulled. And I don't have, like, I had 50 mediums, and I've pulled only 181 frames in medium of honey that had honey in them at all this year. And some of those I know I pulled, spun, and gave back to them. So recycling that. So some, I built some comb, but evidently not a lot. So, I mean, in deep frames, I've only
20 boxes or so.
Yeah, 20 boxes. So it's, but I think I did build like 14 boxes of comb using that mentality, right? So, or that thought process, because I only had put like 6 mediums on the year before. So it's definitely growing and building infrastructure, but it's, it's just kind of a slow road to hoe. Slow row to hoe, not road. Sorry.
Slow row to hoe.
Slow row to hoe. And
that's that's considerable, because we extracted 50 boxes in 2 days, which that's not very fast, right? 25 boxes a day. That's no land speed record for extracting, but that's just the way it goes.
Well, and the thing is,
so 20 boxes is nearly half of what I just did, which is a good job. It's a big job.
It takes me longer to pull the boxes and everything than it actually does to spin it out, right? 40 frames in a 30 frame extractor takes nothing. I mean, it's like 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes tops, right? Two cycles of the extractor, and it's extracted out. So
how long is your spin time typically on that?
I just let it run 15 minutes is what it's pre-programmed at. So I just let it. I started on 4 and just let it get started. And by the time most of that honey's spinning out, then it kind of balanced itself, right? Well, if one's heavy and one's lighter, it's kind of equalized itself. And then I crank it up and let it spin the rest of the way out. So
mine, I've got my big radial bolted right down, so I get her going, and she goes in high gear right fast, and it'll spin. I've got a timer on it, and it'll spin for 45 minutes, but that's mostly because I'm doing other stuff. I'm getting another load ready in the uncapper. I'm taking care of the paled honey. I'm doing all the little jobs around the honey house as I go. So that's about all I'm doing, and that's 33 frames in 45 minutes, and then it's a unload and load. So you're looking at nearly an hour for 3 boxes of honey. That's not very fast, but that's what it is.
I'll tell you what, though, as far as the equipment that I've gotten, I'm perfectly happy with all of it. I mean, does it have little things you have to learn and tweaks? Absolutely, everything you get. Like that video we watched last night with the spinner. You know, it's a $12,000 centrifuge for honey, and it still had wax cappings in the after it was done because it wasn't set up right. So it's about that learning curve. But as far as speed of being able to do what I'm doing, yeah, much quicker.
So talking about spinners, this was my, kind of my first time using that Maxent spinner that I bought, and it worked pretty good. Once in a while, it starts to jump around a little bit, but not that much. And most of the time, it runs there so smooth you don't even know it's running. Actually, when I was finished extracting, was it yesterday or day before? Day before I was extracting, Thursday. And I I was ready to go to bed, and I looked at my wife. I said, "I think I left the spinner going." And I walked back out to Honey House, and sure enough, it was sitting there running. And so sometimes it's pretty smooth. So it actually worked really good, and you can't say how many pounds of honey you can put through because it's really all about the wax.
Right.
And these frames I was uncapping were pretty thin. There wasn't that much wax. So we worked all day today. Actually, Thursday I cleaned it out once, and then I did some more extracting, and then I worked all day today, and I haven't cleaned it out yet. So I'll clean it out tomorrow morning when I get back there, and it's working really good so far.
So how big of a job is cleaning that thing out, Brad? I mean, I guess the wax is capped on the wall, or it's, I guess, not capped, but
it just kind of
it's
stuck to the wall,
yeah.
But it doesn't take much to peel it off. You just kind of pick at it and it comes right off. If you've got I've got a little stainless scraper that I can use in there to scrape it off. But it's dig it out and put it in a pail. It's a little bit of a pain because it's bad, but it's not like you need to get it spotless. You get the majority.
Are they really dry cappings when you're done?
It's not as dry as I'd hoped, but the first round, I had that window screen thing in there, and then I took that out just to kind of see if there's any difference. And I did notice a little more particulate coming out of the drain, but that's okay because it'll go through my clarifier again anyway. And so I was just hoping that maybe without the window screen, it would allow a little more honey through, maybe. Right. So I'll see. I'll have to report that when I clean it out tomorrow.
I'll tell you what.
But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
The tool that I've most impressed with now that I'm using that's not designed for beekeeping that I've been using is that pie knife, the stainless steel pie cutter that I use, the little wedge that you would scoop a piece of pie out of the pan. That it looks like a straw. That thing's amazing. I can use it to put my cappings off my uncapper and into the bag real easy, and I use it inside my extractor because it's pointed. I can put it on. I can tilt my extractor a little bit and come right along the side and move all that honey down real easy. It's
I'm going to see if I can get one of them. I'm always looking for stainless tools like that for the honey house because always using. One thing I have that's really kind of nice is do you know what I mean by a dough cutter?
Yeah.
If you're a baker,
flat blade dough cutter.
It's just a square piece of stainless basically, and this one, like I have one in the kitchen when I make pies and stuff, and it's got a wooden handle on it, but this one I used in the honey house, it's just a flat piece of stainless and it's got a curled handle on top, so it's 100% stainless. Boy, that is the handiest thing ever.
You can probably get that from like Restaurant Supply or something like that.
Sure, absolutely.
Might have to get some of those, and I might have to. I'm gonna have to do it probably. Buy bagged sugar gosh almighty, I can't even believe I said that. But
I'm going to bag sugar this week.
It's just about not being able to get to Charlotte. That's the only reason I didn't. Last week when I should have went to go get sugar, I was helping a buddy, and this week I decided I was going to pull all that stuff off. So now it looks like I'm going to be buying some bagged sugar, but and so everything I've got has changed as I've been doing it, right? So like we were talking about scalability. So initially when I started, what do you start with? Feeders, right? Boardman feeders, right? Everybody's got entrance feeders when they start beekeeping, right? And then all of a sudden everyone's like, Boardman feeders suck. So then it was
they suck so bad. Why does everybody have some?
Right. And then they say, oh, well, you got to get some frame feeders. So I've got like 25 frame feeders, right? I've got like 5 or 6 top Hive feeders. I open feed. I've got Boardmans, and now I've got to drill holes in all the lids. I don't have buckets, but I'm going to use jars until I can get some buckets, right? So it's like, man, it's just I get more and more crap just like everywhere. And it gets to the point that when someone's starting out and they're buying a nuke, it's like, oh, you need a feeder? No problem. Here you go. Here's a Boardman feeder.
Bob, you love to buy stuff.
No, dude, I swear to you, it's been like you start off with 5 colonies, right? 5 colonies, the easiest thing. Let's just get some Boardman feeders. And then now you're 25. Well, people are saying, well, Boardman's they're going to rob. Okay, so then it's like Cayman's using frame feeders. Everybody's using frame feeders. Now I got 25 frame feeders because I had 25 colonies. Now I got 50 colonies. And it's like, oh, those... now we need to use buckets. So now everybody's using buckets and stuff, right? So now I've got a few buckets, 25 frame feeders, a ton of Boardman feeders. And it's like, Christ, y'all quit, make my mind up for me. Quit inventing quit inventing new shit for me to use every year.
And it has a lot to do with
I do 1 gallon buckets. I got 6 frame feeders. I think I only use them for nukes. For mating nukes.
Oh, and then the poly hives have their own top hive feeder that works on top of them. You know, the license.
I drilled holes in mine. I drilled holes in my polys. They get fed like everybody else. Oh yeah, I drilled her right through.
Right through. You're getting a bucket right on top there, baby. There you go.
I don't proprietary feeder or not. You're getting a bucket. I don't care.
That's the thing. Oh, and I had a guy come buy honey tonight, and he said, I've got 33 acres over here you can put bees on. It's like 35 miles away. And I'm like, mighty, I would love to, but I wouldn't love to. It's 35 miles away. I don't have time to work my bees 10 feet away.
Yeah.
Could you imagine going 35? Those would be the most neglected bees ever. I'd go there and they'd hand me their EBT card to get fed every week. You know, it's like, hey, here we got some stamps from the government because you weren't coming to feed us, and and now now it's time. The sugar water state. See, and again, I've got those gallon frame feeders from Motherlode, and I find some colonies have no problem taking them down, and then I find other ones just breed hive beetles in them. So it's kind of weird. And then you see Cayman just does whatever,
Well, I can see things like frame feeders, like the migratory guys use them, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but frame feeders around here, they're not a big deal because we need that extra frame. If you're trying to feed for winter, you can't take that frame out. You can't take those 2 frames out or whatever you need to do because you need those. You need that feed for winter. So you're not feeding with a frame feeder anyway. They're fine if you're maybe building up in the spring, but if you're trying to put on weight for winter, you can't sacrifice those frames.
I agree.
I need to. I should just hook up a drip irrigation system to every one of my hives and pump it out of a 55-gallon drum to them. Just steady drip right into the colony. Here you go. It's like an IV for the colony.
IV.
There's a
Beehive
queen,
IV.
Hey, we should just come up with that. If they're like me, someone will buy it. 50 of them.
There's a guy doing that.
up in
I know of
Northern
a guy doing that.
California. He has a drip system for feeding.
I wonder how effective it is. I mean, how do you stop it from just running down inside the colony if they're not?
Yeah, but remember, there's a drip system, and then there's the other style system, like a gerbil thing where they suck it out.
Yeah, I don't know what I know he's got the little
Bob,
drip.
you know somebody that does that.
What? Just sucks it out of there?
You know, somebody
Brian's got those things that go in like the mason jar, right? With the string or twine.
Yeah, but you know a guy that has a system like that.
That drip. Oh,
Who
James
was it
has a drip feed system.
It's
Who
not
was
drip.
it that put the little nipples on the lids of those jars and turned them
Brian
on?
was doing that. He was making them on his 3D printer.
No, there was somebody else doing it. I can't remember who.
This guy actually runs. This guy I'm thinking of, Northwest Ontario. He runs it in I think it's a semi trailer, and he's modified it, and he winters his nukes in there, and he puts them so that they all have an outside entrance, but he puts them in the semi trailer and runs. I think he runs this trailer at 15C, keeps these nukes nice and warm, and then he has a totally integrated, centralized syrup feeding system that every nuke has a tube that runs straight through the box, and I haven't seen it. I've had it described to me. It almost sounds like almost like a little trough that runs into every box, and it constantly allows them to feed on syrup all winter. You kind of do need to feed if you're running 15C, because
Right.
That's way higher feed consumption than 5 kind of thing. So yeah, it's done.
But I'm gonna have to get out there and see. That's the thing. The same reason, right? If I'm trying to get them with something in the brood box for the winter, then frame feeder, I don't want to take the frame out, right? So it's got to be jar on top, which means I got to drill out 50 lids, which may not be a problem. Could be Jason Crispin. He was doing it, I think.
I think that's who it was. Yeah,
that's what JNDS said. Jason Crispin, not Christmas.
Yeah,
But,
all my lids got holes in them for the buckets.
You got your buckets 40, from Greg?
Over 40 of them.
Well, I tried to buy buckets from Greg last year, and he said the shipping would kill you getting it from here to there. So probably...
I bought my buckets from Uline or US Plastic, one of the two.
And then you just got the centerpieces from Greg?
Yes.
The tint
plug? Broke my own holes.
Well, Brad, do you use the yellow ones with a screen on them? Do you use in your buckets a screen?
My
thing?
Small buckets have that. Yeah, it's just a cap plug with a screen welded in it.
I found that guy that has the automatic feeder. His channel is called Be Innovative, and it's BEE, Innovative. In one of his videos, he's got it on a timer. He's got like a sugar source that it pumps it out to the hive. But he's just doing it for his queen rearing, I think. But I'll send it out to everybody. I got to get back to the channel here.
Well, that'll be good if I didn't have to feed them between now and January.
Yeah.
Picking them up at the conference.
The only bad thing that would happen I can think of is power. Power goes out. Then what do? You think your bees are fed and they're not.
Maybe he's got solar panels on them.
Paul, we're calling it KFC anyway. Kentucky Fried Conference.
The Bourbon Conference.
The Bourbon Conference. But yeah, this is probably the best beekeeping thing I bought this year. The new chair. So much more comfortable. My sciatic is not sciaticing. The gravity feed. Well, I mean I've got plenty of jars, so that's not an issue. The thing is, what I find, because all my hives being in such close proximity to each other and being nukes and being 10 frames or double 10 frames or whatever, that you kind of have to be pretty good at guessing their rate of taking it down, right? Because I can't have syrup left on a nuke when a 10 frame colony has run out, because then they come and take it from the nuke and ruin it, kill it. So
Right.
so that's kind of
That's why you feed your apiary as a unit. You don't feed individuals. You feed it as a unit. Everybody gets feed or nobody gets feed.
right. And but
Right.
see, if you feed them all and they're all in the same yard like mine are, using a pint jar for a small one and a gallon jar or a half gallon for or a gallon, whatever, for a bigger colony, you have to kind of time it to where they're both ending up empty about the same time, because otherwise,
Well, or never.
what's
Or
that?
never empty.
Or
Or
never,
never
yeah.
empty.
Yeah, well, that would require
That's
a
what
beekeeper
I'm saying.
actually keeping bees.
Yeah,
right?
you're right.
Feeding
Like
them every
you
day.
say, everybody has to have feed or nobody gets feed. Like it has to be either on or off.
Yeah, I'll start feeding probably next week, or maybe even tomorrow.
I am a big
I got a
open.
feeling we're gonna get a pretty
open
good
feeder.
fall flow because it keeps raining. Like today, it's supposed to rain again Monday. It just keeps raining.
So I am a big open feeder, but the difference is I open feed when it's a dearth to keep them from robbing each other out. But now,
Right.
the thing is, with the open feed, big colonies get the majority of that, right? The little colonies, it's all relative to how many foragers they have in the hive. So what I need to do is put weight on every colony. And to do that, I have to put that feed directly on that colony. So
You can equalize with honey frames.
Sure.
once
That's
you
what I'm
have
doing.
them, once you have them,
That's kind of what Mark just put in the comments. That get the honey frames in the weak ones.
and then
But
feed
I mean
them.
that can cause robbing too if they're not going to defend that. If they can't defend that, so.
But if it's sealed, they don't really go after it. It's only the open nectar, right? Until they start robbing, then they'll take it. But it's not like if it's capped, it's not going to really start them robbing.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just had that happen yesterday. Moving some honey into one to help out, and they just robbed it out. All capped.
Now you were saying, Tom, you had all this rain and all. I mean, have you been into your hives and found that they were dry as far as the combs go? Any nectar in there at all?
Yeah, oh yeah. There's the flow this year we never had a dearth this year. There's always something coming in until about this week. But even now, there's sumac blooming and Joe Pye weeds blooming. So,
yeah, but what I'm getting at is that you've taken off your honey crop for the year, right?
Right.
So, I mean, like for me, I have 3 mediums. The top medium normally is the feed, the storage for their honey for the winter, and then they go down from there. Or if you have 2 deeps, the 2 deeps or something like that. So, is there, are you doing deeps or mediums?
I do deeps.
So, is the top deep relatively full of nectar or capped?
Some of them are pretty full already. In fact, I might be stealing some of it because it's already full.
Well, it sounds like to me that they do have feed in the hive. I mean, they're not starving.
Oh no, none of my bee hives are starving, but they still want to rob. I
Well,
think it's in their blood.
it's been a month.
Or they don't
It's
have
been
any
at least
blood,
a
but you
month.
know what I mean.
It's been at least a month out here that we haven't really had anything. You
Well, if
know,
they're robbing, have you been, closing their entrances up, so they can
Oh yeah,
defend better?
right. On my nukes, I have. Like I got one closed up completely right now, just for the bees to get tired of going in there. So
Yeah, once
oh
they
yeah,
start, it's hard to get them to stop.
right.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen any robin in my area. Of course, all of them have food inside, and there is, I presume there's a small amount of nectar flowing. There's some clover. We're getting frequent storms that keep the clover. Not that fact that the Dutch white clover is going to really put out a whole lot,
Right.
as far as nectar goes. But I don't know. Some people
In
always
fact,
talk about.
I'm a little concerned that I'm getting honey bound. There's so much nectar in some of the boxes, and most of the boxes.
well, I'm
After I pulled it,
I'm trying to use
really,
James'
really
method, pull all
strange
the honey
year.
out, pulling all the honey and then backfilling it. But it's a little bit different here, so I don't know if it'll work or because I'm not putting mine in the barn, right? They're gonna fly and they're gonna brood. So the thing is, if I put enough feed on it to backfill them, am I actually putting a negative? Am I adversely affecting my bees? I mean, obviously, some feed is not going to hurt them at all because they got pretty much nothing now. So it's
But your bees fly year round. They never stop.
pretty much year round. I mean, there'll be a few days here and there, like rain or maybe a couple days that are cold, but usually sometime during the day, they're going to get out and go fly.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the weirdest thing I saw yesterday, I thought I had a swarm, and the bees were inside and they started coming out for orientation flights, but instead of going back in the colony, they just all bearded on the front. The whole box was just bearded up. So it's kind of.
I mean, by late October here, it's getting cold to where they're in the house and you don't see them for weeks or months.
Yeah, that's not usually the case here.
Yeah,
you might have one day in a month or maybe 2 days. It might be 48, maybe 50 degrees, and they'll do a cleansing flight, and then it's cold again the next day. So it's.
Guys, I'm sorry to bolt. I got something come up. I gotta run away for a bit. I'm not sure if I'll be back or not.
All right, appreciate you,
Brad.
Thanks for coming in.
Have a good evening. All right.
See you later.
Michael, I've got a mix of. I've got some screen bottom boards out there, and I've got some mostly solids, though, mostly solid boards. And it doesn't. I mean, even my the one colony that got robbed out was that Lyson colony, and it's screen bottom board, and they got robbed. So it's like just no telling here. Sometimes you can put an empty super with drawn combs on top of a hive that's getting full honey, and the bees will sometimes move the honey up and then come back down, come back and harvest it. Okay.
I plan on putting a couple supers on a few hives real soon. As soon as my treatment gets done.
Well, I've got pretty much all of my. I think I've got about 7 mediums that I can still need to pull off to get them all. They're either double deeps or deep and a half. That's what I've got out there right now. So I'm just trying to push all those bees in that space to try to keep them attacking the hive beetles and not giving them too much space as they start diminishing, right? As they start brooding back. I'm just trying to compress them as much as I can right now without shaking them into the trees.
Right. I'm kind of doing the same thing, trying to get them down.
But this is the most hive beetles I've seen in about, well, last year I did peppermint all year round. I didn't see anywhere near the hive beetles I have now. And so I will probably put Operation Peppermint back into play. It worked for me. You know, Tim at Southwest Ohio Bee said I have pulled no honey off of them, Steve. They're in a deep and a half right now, a deep and a medium, and drawing comb up. So they're doing good. They're still in the box. They haven't swarmed. Unlike 4 of my other colonies this last week. So
now, did you determine why they swarmed?
Well, I mean, I found 4. Well, one of them was robbed out, right? So I don't know if that forced them to swarm or they swarmed out of there and absconded, and then they got robbed out. I don't know, but I caught them, or I caught a box today full of them. So if they stay in there, which I hope they will, that, you know, I don't know. I don't know which ones. What happens is typically when I see them swarming, it's either around shift change at the honey factory, right? When they're doing the orientation flights in the afternoon, or in the morning when it's just got warm enough or, you know, sunny enough where they all start coming out. And then there's just this mass of bees flying around. So it's like, I can't tell where it's coming from at that point. So we'll see. I mean, I would have to have a catastrophic failure at this point to have less colonies going into next spring than I had last year, right? So just trying to do the absolute best. Yeah, I did. I mean, I did the GrubX stuff on the ground and all that, and it does work when they get into the ground. The problem is if they're flying in from outside into the colony, they wreak the havoc before they go into the ground. So there's got to be a better way to stop them in there. And peppermint works. It's
Why don't you put a bug light on the corner of your house?
Will that stop hive beetles?
Yeah, they'll fly into it.
Into the bug light. I didn't know the hive beetles would.
I believe they will. I thought I heard someone talking about that one of the.
I know the wax moths will, I think.
Wax moth will, but I thought I heard someone say small hive beetle will too.
I don't know. That'd be excellent. I'd put up some bug zappers on all corners of the property. Have you ever seen a lizard crawl on a bug zapper? It's not a pretty sight. That thing could be it's like the electric chair.
Friday, yeah, guys, I'm gonna get off. Have a good night.
See you, Tom.
All right, Tom. Take it easy, brother.
Yeah, you too.
Well, Chris says he won't mention the oil bottom boards.
Well, if a lizard walked into one of those things, I would think someone would start yelling, "Nachos are ready!"
Right? Yeah, it's extra tasty, crispy for sure. The the bottom boards would be good if I didn't have to buy $2,000 worth of them to use them at this point. That's the thing. Solar bug lights out by the hives. Do those things work for hive beetles? Have you caught hive beetles on them?
I tell you, I swear I heard someone talk about that.
Yeah, that's what Paul says. He's had more wax moths than ever too this year.
Me too. Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I had some boxes of frames sitting out there, in which I knew, the wax moths was. And when I was picking frames out to put on these hives, there was a wax moth sitting there looking at me. I'm like, wipe it off there. So I figured, well, put it on the hives and let them, maintain it. And
so Charlie's going to have some interesting guests next Friday.
Yep, we're going to have James and his 4-H students, I guess you would call them. And I presume they're going to talk about their experience with James and how they started out with, not really knowing anything about beekeeping, and what was it? He gave him 2 hives to work with. I think it was Bob. I think they gave him 2 hives. Didn't they give him 2 hives? And
2 hives. I think they ended up with 4 hives.
Didn't they get like 300 pounds off of one hive?
Oh yeah, they've gotten.
Up there, that's the norm. If they don't get 200 pounds, it's like oh my gosh, we're going broke.
Wow.
But
well, I haven't seen any slimed out colonies though. Mike, I haven't seen any slimed out colonies, but I have used that GrubX stuff this year. So,
I hope James is still on and listening. Hey, James, can you print me out a Cowan Silver Queen for me, and then I'll drive up there and pick it up from you next year when it's ready, because it'll probably take a year for it to print out.
They say they can get good used equipment up there, relatively inexpensive. Well, relative to a brand new one, inexpensive, right? But you see, like James's uncapper, he's rebuilding the whole thing and powder coating it and all that stuff. So he's putting a lot of work into it. But even when he's done, he's saved a ton of money as compared to buying it new. Here, it seems like everything you see on like Marketplace and in the groups, they've used something for 25 years and they want a ton of money for it still, At least that's the way it seems.
I've seen a lot of old equipment for sale this year on some of those Facebook, commercial beekeeper posts and stuff. Some of it has been run pretty rough, it looks like. I don't know if people are getting out or if they're buying new.
Free bees and queen to a loving home. Frames not included. Pick up in Pine Ridge. What is that? A swarm or just a box of bees?
Be both.
I don't know, but my buddy came over and I gave him some honey, and he said, well, my father or his stepfather used to keep bees before he passed away several years ago. And he says, we got a whole bunch of equipment, extractor and everything in a building. He's like, you can have it. Just come and get it out of our shed for us. So I've got to find time to get out there. And yeah, there's a lot of people. Jeremy sold all of his colonies, or is selling them. He's getting out of it right now.
Well, he's got to move too, right?
Well, he said he's planning to move, but he's not moving right now. It's his, he's getting ready to have his 5th child, and time is. I get it. Time is tough to deal with when you're trying to get everything done you need done.
Yeah,
because I don't ever have enough time. It seems like
they need to add an extra day to the week.
Yeah, I'll in October, the middle of October, I get my vacation. So, but the problem is beekeeping's over by then, and then next year's vacation is going to Hive Life Conference, or I'm sorry, Kentucky Fried Conference.
KFC.
So that's the plans right now, but who knows? Maybe by next year I'm not even working. I don't know. Yeah, he did shoot himself in the hand with a nail gun.
Yeah,
but he decided he's just going to sell his stuff. I think he said he got like $600 a colony, so like $30,000, I guess. Best math I can come up with. And
he was a pretty good shot. He didn't hit anything.
But he's also given away about 3,000 pounds of honey in it, right in the colony. So, Yeah, he didn't hit anything. The other unspoken word. Yeah, I don't have a problem with the Hive Life conference. It's just that my mind goes to Hive Life conference when I'm thinking about Cayman's conference, even though it's it's different now. But yeah, I don't have any problem with that guy. He had never done anything to me, and as far as I know, people have told me he's a stand-up guy. So I don't know. Whatever it is, and we'll see. Yeah, no, I think you do get big deals up there. Every time I see stuff on Facebook, they're up in the Northwest and in the Midwest. Let's see. There's somebody in Indiana selling 5-gallon buckets of honey for $310 a piece. Let me see. Where's this at? That's California. Yucaipa?
Yucaipa is way up north.
He's selling 4-way pallets for $55. Ohio.
$55 each?
Yeah.
Just the pallet?
With the clips and everything.
Are they dipped?
Mm.
Oh, yeah. They have gold nails?
Is that high? I mean, I don't know. I don't use pallets, so.
That's kind of high.
Okay.
Wow.
Maybe I need to start using pallets.
Well, I hope he's not on here. If he is, I'm just kind of curious. That's a pretty high price for.
No, his name's Ayman Safe, whatever. He's not an English name.
Oh, I've seen that guy. I've seen that name.
Port St. Juicy, Florida. They got boxes selling by the pallet, 42 boxes a pallet, $40 a box. So I guess it's that sounds a lot like $1,680 a pallet for boxes that are already painted, but they're painted and then they got stenciled on the side the company's name or whatever. New York, Texas, Vacaville, California.
Vacaville.
Selling sets of 8-frame doubles or triples for sale.
Yeah, he's been selling those for a while.
220. Hamlet, North Carolina. They've got that Maxant chain uncapper that what's the guy that you always talk about from Tennessee or something that always talks to Bob Binney and all them about beekeeping business?
Oh, Duck River.
Nathan.
Yeah.
Is that what he has?
Yeah, he's got that uncapper where you put the frame in and it flails it. They just sold one of those for $2,000 up in North Carolina. Akron, New York's got a California work truck flatbed.
Got to be gas unless it's a newer diesel.
No, this is a 95 model. It's probably why it's in New York now. And it's 7.3 liter.
7.3.
Mm-hmm. 500 double deeps for sale in Wisconsin for $325 a double deep.
Ooh, wow.
Is that with bees or what?
With bees, yeah.
Boy.
Primarily Italians. They're selling nukes down in Florida for $185. Northern
Guaranteed to sting you.
Ask me how I know.
You did a video on that, didn't you, Bob? A couple times, right?
Man. Yeah. Here's a guy in St. Cloud, Minnesota, selling 1 gallon frame feeders for $4 a piece with cap and ladder. He's got 89 man lake and 21 mother load and 30. Oh, okay. It's 21 without the cap and ladder and 34 with the cap and ladder. So yeah, there's plenty of Missouri, $50 for a box and 10 frames.
You can buy brand new for 45, I think.
Well, it's the unsuspecting Facebook people that they're getting. Virginia inspected 10 frame bee colonies, $275.
After almonds, you could get a double deep around here for $185, but then that's a truckload price.
You got to buy the whole truck.
Yeah, 408 colonies at a $185 each.
But that's only 50,000. What do you want?
What's funny? Well, not funny, but good business is that beekeeper just made 80 grand off of that load because that almond price is probably $200 a colony.
And in the meanwhile, while they're out there, they're building new equipment and starting new nukes back at home, so they don't have to haul it all the way back, right?
They double their money.
So $185 times 408 is actually $75,480. Sorry, my math was slightly off by 50%.
Yeah, but with the almond thing, at $200 a thing, you got the commission of the broker and you got the haul bill.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
that haul bill is probably $5,000 or if not more.
Yeah, that's true. I keep forgetting that because I wouldn't have to do any of that.
Well, it can't be. I don't know. I hate to say it's not beneficial, but Bruce is talking about he's not sending them out there. He doesn't want to send them out there anymore.
Well, this year was pretty bad because of the weather. There were guys that they lost all of their drops. They dropped all their bees next to a small river, large creek. And when that rain came through, it washed everything away.
And they lost all their
They lost everything.
And got paid nothing.
Yeah, unless they insured them. But even if they did, they didn't make anything. Because that probably covered their cost of transporting them out there.
I know.
It was bad this year.
I don't know. My friend was telling, I'm going to say Kudik or whatever was going to send something out there and they weren't able to make it. And in turn, like you said, he actually had the guys who send bees out there couldn't get their bees back for over a month in order to pollinate on the East Coast. And he was better off because he didn't send them out there. It worked out good for him.
Yeah, they couldn't get bees out of there because of the water. There was no way to get to them.
There's somebody selling a standard Larabi's vaporizer for $325 in New Jersey. But now he's got extra caps and the power inverter and battery and stuff to go with it. So I guess there's that. But yeah, there's people selling all kinds of stuff on Facebook. And if you do look on there, it will sort by your local area if you're doing it on Marketplace. So if you're doing it like I'm doing it in that beekeeping, buy, sell, trade, then it could be anywhere. Burlington, Washington, 55. Oh, they want 55-gallon drums of honey, liquid or crystallized, for $1,300 a 55-gallon drum. So that's what, 2.5 pounds or $2.50 a pound?
What was it?
$1,300 divided by 55.
Yeah. What does that say? 223. I am tired
of knotweed honey. $23 a pound? Is that, or $23 a gallon?
Gallon.
Now we got to divide that by 12 pounds, right? So $1.97 a pound.
Mm.
You're
gonna let them turn around and make a profit off of that, obviously.
Oh yeah.
They'll
I'm
turn
sure.
around and sell it for $3-4 a pound.
Well, if you're buying it for that, then you can sell at $1.98 a pound. So it's costing you $60. You could sell that 5-gallon pail for 200 and something bucks, and you've turned a good profit on it.
Mm-hmm.
Where that's not my business model. People, when they say they need a 5-gallon bucket or 60 pounds, and I tell them, well, I get $10 a pound, they're like, thanks, but no thanks. Great. Just what I wanted to hear. Charlie's deep in thought over there.
Nah, I'm looking at Marketplace or whatever it is.
There's one of those little trucks like Alex wants. They want $3,500 for it. Actually, this one's bigger than the one Alex wants. You could probably do 8 hives side by, or 4 on each side. So you could probably do 8.
8 across.
Mm. Yep. Well, 4 on each side of the truck. So, so probably 4 pallet. Well, yeah, 4 pallets if they're built like you guys build them. Dun, dun, dun. Paul.
Oh, good evening.
How's it going, Paulie?
Going well, going well. How y'all?
Doing okay.
We're talking about wax moth, so I actually went out into my shed and picked up something. That's what wax moth looks like when they get to your bottom board. I've got several boxes that look like this too.
But you know what? You put that right on the colony, and the bees will fix it right up.
They'll go back to business, huh?
Yep.
Well, I'm cleaning out about. That's a nasty job. I never want to do, man. But I'm cleaning up probably, I don't know, 60 frames. I'm like going, okay, can I use these again? Can I not? I'm power washing them. They got cocoons on them, getting all the pollen out of them. I'm about to decide, okay, spend $300 and buy a bunch of this stuff.
It is those wax moths. I don't know. The wax moths I can deal with. I mean, they don't gross me out as much as the hive beetles do with the larvae. Like when you go to a colony and you see that, I call it golden dust in the front of the colony right there, where they've just obliterated every bit of pollen in there and it's sitting in the bottom, and you take the box off and there's nothing but hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of larvae that are just moving around in that old pollen. It's nasty.
See, I've never really had that, but the hive beetles will, once they start sliming honey, and it's gone,
Right.
I hate losing that, but this year it's been like, I probably had, I don't even want to count, I don't know, 5,000 wax moth larvae. They just keep producing and producing and producing. Then I put out the frames out in the sun, thinking the sun's going to take them. The birds will eat a few, and that kind of thing. I see everybody feed them to their chickens. I guess I need to start raising chickens or something. But they just keep multiplying and multiplying. So I started scraping stuff off in a bucket, scraping the pollen off in one bucket and the wax in another, so I could put it in the wax melter. And in the bucket that I scraped the pollen stuff into, they're still propagating in that thing. And it's just like, it's gross. It's about to make me throw up today.
There's no winning on them. I just started putting I just cut out scrape the comb and everything right into the solar wax melter, just let them cook. I just let them cook and then, dry them out with the wax melter, and the wax runs off, and then scrape all the crap out of it when it's done.
Well, last year I put a bunch of frames into the black plastic thing with the lid on top and everything, thinking it would cook them. They were down in the bottom making new babies.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had that issue, but they're not fun. I'm waiting on them to get in that poly hive, like Brad says, they'll eat holes right all the way through it. It'll look like bullet holes through the side of it.
In the poly hive.
In the poly hives, yeah, they'll wax moths straight through it.
I thought they just ate the wood.
No, they don't care. They're indiscriminate.
Well, I learned my lesson this year, and I know I've listened to Bob Benny talk about this before. Bob Benny says, 2-year queen. I'm like going watching Bob Benny videos, watching him squishing 2-year-old queens. I'm like going, why is he squishing 2-year-old? Hey, Earl, why is he squishing 2-year-old queens or whatever? But now I know why, because you get to the middle of honey season and your queens peter out, and then your hive goes south and you lose a hive in a heartbeat.
Right.
So now I'm going to start sitting there start marking those puppies, because I had a white dot queen or whatever beginning of this year. And man, she was laying slabs of brood. And I'm like going, why kill this queen? She's doing great. But then halfway through, well, part of it's my fault too. Most of the problems we have with beekeeping is because of the beekeeper. And I attest to that. Raise your right hand. And I was trying to split things left and right, and I ended up taking out swarm, supersede yourself. It's like their last ditch effort to do it, and then that ended up making that hive go down south pretty quickly. So I've caused my own problems most of the time here, but it was not a good year. I lost half of my hives pretty much to queens. Aged queens, for more or less.
Yeah, it's that's one thing I tried to focus on this year, was having 1 or 2-year-old queens. But I'm getting to the point to where next year it's kind of like this, like we were talking about with genetics. We talked about genetics forever on here, and the thing is that I'm trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit right now, right? So it's
a good way to put it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I've got all new queens, but the queens that I bred them off of were not that. I picked the best queen that I had, but does that make her good? You know what I mean? So
depends on your needs.
Yeah, well, they definitely are. I mean, they're doing okay, but it's like there could be better options, right? So the problem, with queens here is I just can't get them early enough. If I could get them earlier, then it would be a maybe something that I could buy queens. So if I'm propagating queens off of crappy queens, then I'm propagating crappy queens, right? I mean, it's just kind of the downward cycle. So
I bred up 3 new good queens in the Bee Hacienda this year, but in the same vein, I lost 3 legacy queens or whatever in my other hive. So
so we're gonna see. Maybe I go get some assessed queens or something like that next year, like Earl did, and they're pretty good queens, ain't they, Earl?
I highly recommend them. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I highly recommend them. I like them pretty good, but I like the ones that after I've brought them home and bred them here in the mountains, that's I like those really good. They seem to be mostly black queens with the chocolate yellow stripes that are coming back, and the bees, instead of the carniolan that's black with the white and gray stripes, they're more black and it's a deep yellow, dark yellow type. I don't know. You can call it kind of chocolatey if you want to. It's
like
a weird looking
almost
bee.
mustard color, darker
Yeah.
mustard.
Yeah. Let me think. See what would be something close to that yellow. Walker Bee Ranch up there in the top where it's highlighted in yellow beside the HTTPS StreamYard.com. That yellow there on the left, it's a little darker than that. It's a wild looking bee, man. It's became its own thing, I believe, and I want to go get. I'll be going and getting a couple more because I want to keep introducing that stock up here in the mountains. And I've let a few swarms go, and I've sold. I mean, I let some people have some swarms. Yes, I sold a few.
So I sent you some things in the mail a little while back. Have you been using those yet?
Those work perfectly, Bob. And not only do they work perfectly, the only thing is they last a week in that little bullet. However, I have used that stuff, and I took like a little small ashtray and just kind of put the magic stuff in there, and then put my stuff in on top of that, and it works amazingly well. If you just had some way of, I don't know, just peeling the lid off something and sliding it in there, because that stuff is working great. I tried it this way. I tried it with peppermint extract, and it had perfect results. It lasts about a week, and in 6 to 7 days, you're going to be putting some more in them. They empty out. I also tried them with the green alcohol, which is wintergreen. That's that methyl salicylate, and it worked equally as well, and about the same amount of time. And I tried a mixture of the two, and it worked very well. But that is just for smell and then fuming. It's not something you want to let them, touch or get into. But as it circulates through the hive, I think it helps.
So
but
for those who don't know what we're talking about, is I sent him some empty vials and the crystals that go into the bullets, and trying to do the extended release on hive beetle treatment.
Yeah. If we could have a bigger delivery system, like something 2 to 3 times the size of that bullet, because one week is going to be a bit much for most people. I can do it. It ain't nothing but going out there with a dropper and just drip, 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 drip. I've got like 3 on the front and 3 in the back, across the frames. I just set them in between them. And even that little cup, after it's open, I use it and put some in it too.
Right.
So it worked great, Bob. If we had a way of that lasting just a little bit longer, say a bigger size bullet, man, that would be phenomenal. It really, really works great.
Something to look at. It might. Well, I've got to do something. I'm going to have to do something here soon, because last year, and I'm the first one, I admitted it all year long, is that last year I was very diligent about using peppermints all year long. This year I treated the ground and did not put peppermints in. The hive beetles that I have this year, 20 times as many as I had last year. Easy.
I've seen 3 this year.
Well, that's kind of how it was last year when I was using peppermint all the time. And the thing was that for me, I ended up with a ton of peppermint wrappers all over my whole yard because I had, colonies everywhere. This year would have been even worse, so I've got to find a way to deliver that, but deliver it in a way that I can just go straight in the hive once a week type of deal and not have to unwrap 5,000 peppermints to do it. And it would be more effective for me.
Yeah, you can take a big old thing of the peppermint extract and just get you a dripper, man. And the trick is, as you well know too, is measuring those crystals exactly right. They absorb quite a bit of fluid.
300
and
times.
So you just, yeah. So you put just a little bit in and you drop it in there, and then as it fills up, and then I take the wet ones and deliver it into the other ones and then fill them all up. And then after I get them, each one, I want to be able to look at it and not see any of the crystals in it. It looks liquid, but when you open it, it ain't coming out. You know what I mean? And that's how I was making them all that way. And I was putting 3 in the front and 3 in the back across the frame rest. And actually, like I said, you get that cap, it'll hold a little too. So instead of just 3, you actually got 6, and then 3, and then 6. But
now you understand why I didn't push the bullet that much, because it's kind of a pain in the butt to do the crystals and the vials and the liquid and everything else. So.
If you get that bullet a little bit bigger, you have a super product right there. I would buy it.
As far as the beetles, yeah, I saw every single beetle today. John Paul, Ringo, and the fifth beetle nobody's heard of, and I saw them today. So
Try
See,
this,
my
brother.
beetles are
Try this.
beetles are less, but the wax moths are more. That's what we're experiencing.
Eucalyptus. Them wax moths hate eucalyptus. They hate it. I chased one all around the other day with that stuff. It tried to kill itself every time I put a drop near it. It works great. I mean, I literally saw it in my hive and went after it with some eucalyptus oil, and it like to killed itself to get out the top.
the question is, can you buy the eucalyptus? The thing is, all right, so when you start buying essential oils, they're not exactly inexpensive, right?
Yeah, right.
So to do something on scale, how do you keep something like that reasonable enough and affordable enough to be able to do it at a scale, right?
Buy it online. I buy it online, and I mix up my I call it my solution. I'll put if it's for feed, that's different. Okay, but this is just for smell and for it to come up through the bottom. I'm putting them in the bottom tray, either in an ashtray or a tuna can, and letting it circulate. So I can just put the peppermint and the eucalyptus and a little bit of the wintergreen in that bottom tray and slide it in there. And there's the beetles and the moths are just they're non-existent. It's a non they're gone. It's a no thing. I promise. It works that good. If it just as that stuff evaporates, as they're circulating air and moisture through that colony, it's picking it up and it's circulating it through. It has no other choice but to do that. But just like you said, if you're dealing with essential oils, you cannot put oil in those crystals. It has to be an extract. In other words, you got to have some kind of. I used anhydrous denatured alcohol, and made my own mixture with it in order, because what best I found in the extracts, all that is an alcohol basis. It's still the oil, but the alcohol is mixed with it, and that allows it to do the stuff it needs to do.
Let me see.
If it tells you anything, I ain't had peppermints in a month.
Just been using the extract, working fine.
Yeah. And when I run out of peppermint, it doesn't bother me a bit to drop that eucalyptus oil in the same way. Again, it's soaking into the wood. It's not for them to eat. It's just a fragrant to hive. And dude, I'm telling you, if you catch your wax moth, put it in a jar, and then put your little eucalyptus in there and watch that thing beat its brains out trying to get away from it. I mean, the beetles will do the same thing. I had one little beetle I saw, and it was in like one of the flow. I pulled the flow hive window out, and I saw a beetle in there. They had gilded in one of the flow hive cells, and I was like, "No, you ain't." So I got me some peppermint extract, and I squirted it into that bottom of the window and let it just and man, that thing come out of the beetle gel over top of the bees and straight up to the top of that hive, getting it. I ain't seen him again.
That high concentration doesn't chase the bees out either.
No, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I was doing the drops. I had a shaker dropper. Man, that whole thing come out, and I dumped half a bottle in there, and I knew right then I'd killed some bees, and they was going to be mad. They didn't beard. They didn't kick up in high gear. I've watched through this glass observation hive that I've made. I've treated with formic and observed it, and I've watched as I've treat with the peppermint and the eucalyptus. I watch them. I see how they act and how they do. And peppermint is just, I don't know, man. It's just they have to touch I mean, it'd have to be a bunch of it right there, and they'd have to get in it for it to kill them. They
Well,
tried
those
to use it.
essential oils run pretty strong. I mean, you can smell those things, and boy, they've got. I mean, they're very aromatic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The peppermint and the eucalyptus have both worked absolutely amazingly well for me, and I have not seen the beetles or the wax moths. I seen one wax moth, that one that I chased all around trying to, but after that, I've kept enough of the stuff in my hives, I guess, to just keep them run off.
You still going to school, Earl? You didn't make Dr. Casey yet, did you?
No, man, with my medical conditions, I can't do school. I can't do horses. It's changed a lot of my plans.
I knew a couple of years ago you were looking at going back and getting your master's degree or something, I think.
Yeah, I got another ruptured disc in my neck, and it's not going to heal by itself, and I ain't no way I can see it in no classroom or in front of a computer very long, or even do this really. It ain't no fun, man. I don't want to cry and go on about it, but it's torture.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, Bob, I put on there earlier on the thing. Any update on Lee? Is he feeling any better?
He's still having pain, but he won't take the time off from work unless the doctor makes him, right? So being in that machine, even though you're sitting idle for a lot of the day, you're still sitting at 90 degrees, right? Your body is supine to really do it, but he's still in pain, and he left the stream the other night a little early because of that. And
well, it's probably doing the same thing to him as it done to me. I mean, excavators and dozers and stuff. That's what I always done. I was a surface coal miner. Yeah. I've got more spurs, and now I've known some guys their disc actually beat together so hard that they fuse together. They call it a compression fracture, and they'll even grow together like that.
That comes from sitting down on the job for so long, huh?
When you're sitting in that seat and running that equipment, and like he says, he runs the excavator a lot too, and the crane, and when those things slam you down, man, it's from your butt all the way up to your ear balls. I mean, it's like your eyes and your ears just, it hurts. And you get that, day in and day out and over a period of time, and then, you've done it for 35 years and you're messed up. And then they get them a young buck and come in, let him run the stuff and kick you out and act like we don't need you no more. I'm like, yeah, but help me. And they're like, nah, we got another one. That's what lawyers are for. But that's enough about me. I don't want to whine and cry about that. It's torture, though, man. My hands go numb. You be trying to do something, they just go out on you. No more banjo, no more guitar, no more piano.
Yeah, tough getting old.
I have to get the kids to help me with the bees now,
That's my kids don't want nothing to do with the bees.
They don't got no choice this time. I tell them I can't do it. I need you, and they'll help me then, But now they ask me, you need any help? You need any help? You going to do anything? Because they'll catch me out there doing it and get mad at me. I'm like, Dad, you can't be doing that.
Like I was talking earlier, it was 104, 105 degrees here today, and probably 115 degrees with the heat index. And I was outside watering the yard, trying to keep it from turning into straw.
I hear you.
Man, I come in this evening, I'm just spent.
Yes, I am. Every day.
The older you get, that hits me more harder and harder all the time.
I'm sure we're all over the 50, and it's rough. It really is. I mean, you feel it more. And I can do some things, but I pay for it if I do. I mean, I know y'all know what that's like.
Oh, yeah. How's your temperature been up there, Earl?
Hot, man. It's been hot and humid. Just almost 100% humidity and in the 90s. It's baking out there. With COPD, you go outside and I can feel the reduction in oxygen. I hate it. I try to stay inside in the air conditioner as much as possible. Look outside at that crazy hive I built, and then stay in here.
That's what my brother jokes about Louisiana and Florida. He said the air you can wear, you walk outside and it gives you a coat right away.
Yeah.
Same here. You just walk outside and you immediately start to sweat.
Mm-hmm. You can wring the sweat out of your clothes anytime. Yeah. That's a temperate rainforest for you, though.
So you're in Kentucky, right by Virginia, right, Earl? So how far is it for you to get to Louisville for the conference this year?
Actually, I'm in Virginia, right near Kentucky, Elkhorn, Kentucky's. Which my wife, she works down there in Pikeville, and we're down there a lot. So I don't know. Louisville's that's probably still about a 3.5 hour drive.
Straight across.
Yeah.
You going to the conference this year? You don't know yet.
I don't know yet, baby. I don't know. I don't know if I can.
In Louisville.
Riding in a car is a horrible thing, man. I try to stay home as much as I can, unless it's a doctor's report or something. I don't go nowhere.
Did you already get your ticket, Bob?
Yeah, I got mine.
Yeah, last year you're waiting out and seen. I think Blythewood or whatever was going to have a booth or something for the longest time, and finally you had to. I think you took Lee's, didn't you? Yeah.
Lee bought it, had an extra one. So I bought one for me and my wife this year, and as long as my mom's situation is what it is now, then we'll be game on. So it's just unfortunately when you're taking care of your parents, you're kind of at God's mercy on what happens,
Yeah, I'm blessed to have mine still around, but they're still independent for the time being.
Lucky man.
But she's the last parent that either myself or my wife have. So we're just taking every day as it comes. It's definitely not an easy thing. It's harder on her than it is on me because I go to work every day and she stays here and deals with the situation. So, and now we've got all them home health care nurse and physical therapists and all them people come by, and they don't give you any notice. They just call them, we'll be there in 25 minutes. And my wife's like, crap, now I got to jump through a bunch of hoops. And
I saw Charlie had his ticket and he's staying at the Hilton. So I had to find a different hotel because that raucous place, I didn't want making too much noise over there.
Charlie be dancing in his room all night, making noise.
If we can get Bob's idea for that apitherapy charge there when people comes to our bee yards, I'm watching there, Charlie. You think I ain't checking you out, but I was watching you.
The apitherapy, just come.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
I wish I had some of those bee venom collectors, but they're kind of expensive unless you order directly from China.
Hey guys, I love y'all. I'd stay on a little bit longer, but I'm gritting my teeth. I gotta get off here.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
Hey, I'll be watching you. Y'all have a good one. God bless, man. Love y'all.
Night, Earl.
See you, Earl.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Earl. Stopping in. I think Dirt Rooster's staying at the Crown Plaza.
That actually had a pretty good rate. I was surprised.
Well, I was looking at rates at the casino. That's like 20 miles away.
Oh, goodness.
And right now, it's good, the rates. But when you put in the dates of the conference, it's still cheaper than the other hotels. But
see, I did that last year. I stayed with Grammy up in the mountains, and it was a beautiful place. We weren't getting there till night, but it was a 20-mile drive. And then Lee texted me right when I get up there. He goes, yeah, we're all hanging out down here at the diner. Come on and join us. And I'm like going, man, I just drove 20 miles away. So this year I'm staying closer.
If you drive 20 miles and you got slot machines, then it makes the night. Well, it used to be if you were gambling, they would give you free drinks. I don't know if that's still the case. It's been a long time since I've been in a casino. So,
yeah, you're going to drop your cryptocurrency down in that slot machine, are you?
Nah. I'm a very responsible gambler, if there is such a thing. I go there with a finite amount of money, and when it's like my play money for that night, and if I lose it, I lose it. If I get up over, I take my money and put it back in my pocket and play with their money until it's gone.
I did buy a ticket to the $1.5 billion Mega Millions, although I wouldn't know what to do with that much money if I had it. So
somebody hit it, right?
Florida.
Somebody in Florida hit it.
Yeah, my brother-in-law lives there. My brother lives there. I said, "You didn't happen to buy a ticket while you were down in Florida last month, did you?"
I saw
he said,
where
sadly, no.
someone said, congratulations to the U.S. government on their $693 million Mega Millions win.
Tax, yeah.
Tax money.
Right. Fox Plus is here.
Yeah, I don't have a...
if Fox Plus is here, then he just got about another 5,000 viewers or whatever.
We're at 371 now, so we definitely went up like 320 so far. I haven't booked a room yet. So right now, part of me is like, you know what? I wonder if I could find me an RV and rent an RV or buy an RV and just go stay right there in the RV parking at the convention center.
Yeah. So you know what? In the RV, you rent a space for your RV probably costs $100 a day, which you can get a cheaper hotel.
Yeah. Well, last year I paid, I think, $170 something a night on average for my hotel. My wife has a rule. We don't go on vacation often, so you're not putting me in any shithole. So that's being a veteran, as long as it's got a mattress and a pillow, I'm good. But she's a little more particular when it comes to rooms. Show up in van life. That's right. It don't matter to me. I would, I've driven over the road. I could stay in a truck stop parking lot for all it matters to me, and go to sleep.
Well, they actually, I was looking at hotels back. I already got my hotel, but I was looking at hotels that popped back up, and they must have had some. They had some big concert going on, like a 4-day concert. And rooms up there were going for like the same hotel I was at were going for like $300 a night. And I was like going, whoa.
See, I just looked at flights. A red eye from here, it's Fresno, Dallas, and then Louisville is $480.
Yeah.
So I leave here at midnight. I get there 10:15 local time. And that's the cheapest.
I'm planning to go up there on Wednesday, like I did last year. That's when Charlie went up there too, I think, Wednesday.
Yeah, I was there last year at Wednesday.
And
I drove in on Thursday. The one thing people have to know this year is the meet and greet is from 1 to 5.
Really?
Not 5 to 8 like it was before.
Well, my question would be, can they get all of the stuff done as far as the vendor setup? Like, that was the reason it was so late last year, is because the vendors were setting up, right? And then everybody came in. So
Was there a schedule out, Paul?
Well, I saw where the check-in, you can check in on Thursday from 1 to 5, and that's the meet and greet time. So yeah, I'm coming from down here, and it's almost 11 hours for me to drive up. So last time I drove up, went to my in-laws in Mississippi and spent the night, and then had about an 8-hour drive up to Knoxville or whatever the next day, and could still get there for the meet and greet for 5 p.m. But this time it's going to be hard to make that 8-hour drive or whatever, or 8 hour and 45-minute drive to be there for 1 o'clock.
From where you're at, how close it'd be better to fly, I think.
It's an hour difference for you coming from where you're at and from where I'm at. So I'm like 7 hours and 45 minutes from here.
Well, I'm 10 hours and 45 minutes totally from Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
But I'll drive over to Mississippi and to Hattiesburg and spend the night with my in-laws and then drive up from there.
So you guys are talking, well, how much is, what do you think the average is for a hotel room up there?
160 something, I think.
I think mine was $97 a night.
Where are you staying?
It's at the whatever Sure Stay by Best Western or whatever, right there on the other side of the interstate.
Well, I'll be doing $50 bed bug inspections for any hotel room while we're up there. So,
well, even the Crown Royal, when I looked, not Crown, the Crown Royal, where you said Rooster Stand,
Crown Plaza, yeah.
it was 107 a night.
See, I'm looking at 3 nights. So yeah, I'm already almost up to $1,000 by the time I, just to do
So that
anything.
means you need to buy about $10,000 worth of bee supplies to get enough savings to warrant the cost.
To pay for your ticket but you can't take it back on the flight.
James didn't. James ordered it all and had it shipped to him. He was the big baller of the show last year.
I've been saying for the last couple of years, just jokingly on some of Cayman's lives, that he should have his conference in Vegas at one of the convention centers. Easy to fly in, lots of flights, cheap rooms. That's all you need.
Yeah, I would not be at the show. I'd be at the Caesars.
I think my flights, when I first looked at it, when he announced it was going to be in Louisville, I think it was $380 for me to fly round trip.
And I'd say, I got 100 bee colonies on black right now.
I can hear you,
Mr. James.
but I can hear you.
Are you still working?
What's that?
I was gonna say, I see a ceiling over your head, not a car window.
Odd, eh?
So you got the uncapper put back together now?
Pretty close. The last piece.
The power cord?
A new
That
cord.
takes like 5 minutes if the box is open.
Well, a little bit longer than that, but close.
Thanks, Jose. I'll do it.
Hey, there's Jose. I'll put you on my carry-on. Just get him a dog crate. It's like $75 to ship.
I'll do that. Oh, man.
Bring me when you come to the conference, bring me 50 queens to the conference. I'll pick them up in January.
I'd like to see him put those in his carry-on.
No, there's nothing in there. You don't have to check that case.
Don't look at that.
I bet you if he brought queens to the conference, he would sell everything he could bring in January. Well, maybe not. Maybe February.
Yeah,
they're not gold dot Hadasha queens like Grammy got over here. I see.
He said, "Copy that." The matter of fact, James had to pull me back from the edge because I was about to order 50 queens from you today. I was going to call. The problem I have is that they would come during the week when I'm at work. And then I would be stuck
like everything else.
Yeah, stuck with a box of queens that are saying, "Come on, give us something to do." So,
James, did you hear what I was asking earlier?
No, everything was muted. I couldn't hear. I could see everybody talking, but I couldn't hear anything. What was that?
Well, with your printer, I was hoping maybe you can print out a cow and silver queen for me for next year, and then I'll swing by and pick it up next year when it's ready.
Working on this, working and rebuilding this old time cast one. I don't know. I've seen the Silver Queen. I've seen the model up from that. I'm kind of a fan of this old cast one when you get everything done proper on it. So, yes, I had to make new shafts. I had to make new knife holders. I got the updated kit. So this machine takes the same parts as the Silver Queen, and it is rugged. It is. I think this thing is going to be bulletproof. If it works half as good as I think it's going to work, I'm tempted to buy every one of these cast machines I can find everywhere and rebuild them because this thing is rock solid. rock solid.
Can you show it to us now?
Well, it's not quite all done, but I'll try to show you here.
I'll blow you up big.
Let me flip the camera around. All right. So here's the whole drive side. So this is what I got to wire back up. So yes, I had to get a new switch. Let me show you the old switch. This is what the old one looked like. So there's not really much left of it, but I mean, it wore right out. So this is the same switch, same manufacturer, make and model. I just, the only difference is it's got a nylon handle versus the old metal handle here. But all of the hardware has now been changed out to all stainless steel hardware. Everything has been upgraded here. So if there was anything that was wore out, what we did is we built it up and we machined it back down. The powder coat is food quality powder coating. You go down, all new bearings. We had to make a new shaft, but new bearings. The springs and everything now are all upgraded from a Silver Queen. I don't know if you guys can see those in there. How can I do that? So these are all Silver Queen parts now. The gearbox. Here's the trick that I learned from Cowan. This gearbox you can find all the parts and pieces for. There's a rounded gearbox, and you can't find any of the parts for that. However, this one you can still buy, so you could upgrade it without a problem. Once again, all new stainless steel hardware. Remade the clutch. So the clutch system in this one here was wore right out. So there's a bunch of balls in behind here. So the spring is what sets the clutch pressure. So, but now that is, like I say, pretty much bulletproof, rock solid. Looking at it from the back here. So you can see all new knife holders, knife caps are all made. These were all these crossbars, they were all stainless steel. So those all got upgraded or cleaned up, and then they were short a bunch. So I just had the machine shop turn a bunch of them out. But I mean, look at this thing. This thing is like a tank, man. So
do you have any idea of how many frames an hour or that it's supposed to do?
Yeah, well, actually I timed it, and before I took it all apart, now a lot of stuff was jamming and hanging up on it, but it did a frame in about 6 seconds.
So 10 a minute if everything's running smoothly.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Now here's what I still got left to put back together. So this will adjust.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
All right, we'll move him back down until he comes back in. But he probably doesn't realize that he's frozen right now.
He's on to,
so
he's ready to plug it in and turn it on.
Now Cowan was really good. They I can't speak enough about them. So when I phoned them up and I let them know that, you know, what I was planning on doing was rebuilding this whole thing, they were really good. I mean, they sent me all the manuals, all the parts manuals, and in fact, if you take a look at this is a Silver Queen, but the parts are identical. You know, they sent me all of the manuals, and they sent it to me in a PDF. So I mean, I printed it all off. They were absolutely awesome. Even though I was rebuilding this old one and wasn't buying a new one. Same thing with the drawings. They sent me all of the drawings for a bunch of this. Now, all of my shafts, of course, they wouldn't send me the drawings for those, but because I had the old ones, I took them just down to the machine shop, and they made an AutoCAD and everything. So
Uh-oh.
He dropped out, and you guys got me big. I'm sorry, it scared the hell out of myself right there. So I know you guys got frightened when that happened. So it's coming back. Now we can't hear him.
Man, that thing looks slick.
It is. It looks nice, doesn't it?
It is nice.
So, some of this old equipment, if you have a machine shop at your disposal, like James does, you can rebuild them probably pretty reasonably, I guess. I mean, in my conversations with James, that for the price that he got that one at and the rebuild, it's still way, way, way cheaper than buying a brand new one. And you know how they built stuff back in the day. It was designed to last forever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the price that Cowan sells their stuff, it should be designed to last forever as well. I'm just saying.
Yeah, some of those old extractors, those 30 frame extractors, I mean, the stainless steel walls are about that thick. The ones you get now, you go,
Well, for what an extractor does it really have to be that heavy duty? I mean, the legs, I'll agree, because that's the whole wobble and shock absorber part of it. But as far as the actual tub, I mean, it just gets honey slinged up on it,
Yeah.
Are you decided you wanted to stay with us this time?
Sorry, guys. I don't know where I cut out.
Well, the last thing we saw was a front shot of the uncapper there and no sound, and then you just disappeared, and my big head was in the middle of the screen.
Oh, there's a scary thought. Sorry, guys.
I know.
It was. We all jumped.
I was falling back,
No, this thing, like I said, I think this is one heck of a find. So,
well, I mean, you've got a lot of work into it, and I was just saying before you came back in that older stuff was designed to last forever.
Absolutely,
and
yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Which is kind of funny that you're rebuilding something that was designed to last forever, but that's a whole different show. But
as long as you can find and get parts for it, yeah.
Right.
But the reason I'm rebuilding it is because not the guy I bought it off, so because he never.
Oh.
The guy that had it before him didn't do any maintenance on it. Just it was a lack of maintenance is all that the problem was.
Yeah.
And I mean, compared. Obviously, asking him a question at this point would be fruitless, but maybe he can still hear us. I'm just curious if he'll share. I don't want to know exact dollar amounts, but compared to a new one, how was it still worth rebuilding?
One thing I yeah. Well, what I can tell you. Oh, is everybody froze up there? Nope. I was going to say what I can do.
Just you.
You're doing what I was doing last week.
Just me?
Yeah, just you.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say this.
I know the feeling.
With the outfeed table. Oh, this doesn't fall. How about now?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, cost-wise, this with the outfeed table, with all of the parts and pieces I got into it, I still don't have $3,000 into this thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good buy.
Yep.
It's a real good buy.
So.
That's like a whole market there. Just buy old equipment, refurbish it, and
I was trying to remember what that license was at the Hive Life last year. They had that Hive Life, that license uncapping tank. I want to say it was probably about $4,000 or $5,000 or whatever sitting there as they were showing it.
Was that the automatic or the
the automatic one?
$5,000. No, it was $6,000. $6,000 because we looked at it the other night. The one I got was $4,000, and the automatic one was $6,000.
Okay.
Exactly the same way. Now they do sell it with that, but more for the auger system to where it uncaps and then it drains back into the auger, which is quite a bit more expensive because you get the auger with it. But yeah, I mean, for what I need, what I've got is awesome. I mean, I enjoy it. I don't have anywhere near the honey pool that those guys up there have, and it works awesome for me. The honeybee compound said, James, how much does the company have into it? With the machine shop.
Well, there you go. Actually, no. So the machine shop, I paid for all the machining. So
nice. That's
yeah, no, I paid for all the machining. So
the
I'm a firm believer in an hour work deserves an hour pay. So
if you got the right person to do it, that is definitely true. You pay for talent.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, the as far as like uncappers, like if I had James's people, I could probably replace the shaft on mine and put a motor on it and motorize it. But the one that license sells, like the one I've got now, is 110, right? So the automatic one is 220. So I would have to rewire for 220 in my building, which from what I understand is not too difficult. However,
it's just single phase. That's all. I mean, it's a heavier wire.
And I mean, Keith came down and did my wiring in my building last time. So,
it's the plug that has the bars this way instead of this way.
Like a dryer, right?
No, it's like you can have table saws that are 220 and they have it's a 3-prong plug, but instead of having the 2 knives going into the plug this way, they're sideways, so you can't get them mixed up.
Right.
And it's a heavier duty breaker, and that's about it to it. Not that difficult.
Maybe with all that money James saved on his uncapper, he'll buy some decent internet. Of course, he knows I'm joking with him. But anyway,
I know what he was going through because I haven't cut out once tonight.
It's it's only out there in his
shop.
In his shop, right? So the
what did you finally get that fixed, Todd?
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine come over here. There was a network issue. I don't know what it was. He plugged in some diagnostic thing into the router and click, click, click. Next thing I know, it's done. So
it was software then?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's fixed. So for now, let's see.
I got mine fixed this week too.
I probably jinxed myself, but see how long that lasts.
It's been doing fine tonight.
Yeah, I haven't cut out once.
Well, it's 11 o'clock. I think it's time for me to go to bed.
Just like that, I sold something on Amazon. Swarm lure. Well, thank you, whoever bought Swarm lure in September or August. I appreciate it. They would have bought pins, but I don't have any right now. I'm still waiting on my shipment to come in. I got 120 sets coming in this time. Let me see. All right, guys. Well, it is 11 o'clock, 11:06 actually, Eastern time. So we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night on Tim and Hannah. Talk to you guys later.
Yes, sir. Everyone. Have a good night.
Charlie dipped, man. Charlie